Just getting initial jobless claims data week over week. Downside, it looks like 201,000 versus 215,000 expected there. Again, for the initial jobless claims from last week. Continuing claims also downside 1.862 or 1.8 million versus 1.9 million expected there. We're also looking for this coming up just after the open this morning. S&P Global Composite PMI. We'll also get existing home sales coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. Whole bunch of Fed speak to get through today as well. We also got the Chicago Fed National Activity Index there at 8:30, negative 0.3 versus negative 0.19 to kick things off. Yeah, so that happened. 18% right now for RIVN downside. Ouch. Yeah, production nowhere near what they expected. I just saw CEO RJ on CNBC. I think he's done now, but he was talking about a few things when it comes to production. We'll get into that. Still more to come as far as earnings are concerned. NVIDIA, I should say. The big headliner from last night to the upside in a pretty big way here. They continue to impress, so that should help things out as far as the overall market is concerned. Tech going to be in focus, semiconductors specifically as well. It's Thursday, February 22nd, 2024. Tradertv.live starts now. Still hot. Initial move downside here for the overall market, but we're right back up. Here, I'll bring this over. That's the NASDAQ futures holding on to 2% on the back of this move from NVIDIA. But initial move downside there on that initial jobless claims number, but you can see volume buying the dip already here to get things going. But we'll talk about this coming up. Yeah, that's Rivian. NVIDIA, the more important, I think, and much more positive note here this morning.
Yeah, what a monster, Brendo. Unreal. I mean, just when you think it can't get any better, it does get better. And this is all in the face of significantly declining data center participation from China. You know, there were accounts of whether that was that made up 20 to 25% of their GPUs sold to data centers, and they did all this without really having to worry about that. And they're adjusting their GPUs, Brendo, which apparently are unhackable. So they'll be able to send those to China without worry of the government coming back.
Don't tell them that, because that's just the challenge, I think. Just seeing Wayfair popping up here to the upside as well. There is a short percent on W. I'll have a look at that. But yeah, all about semiconductors today, guys. Yeah, there goes Wayfair right now through 55.
Well, I had a thing we were going to start with about NVIDIA and the markets and Sharif's beard, but then you said like unhackable, and I just started chuckling.
Sharif's beard? Does he have, what's going on with the beard?
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. NVIDIA's up 12% today.
Did NVIDIA report or something?
Apparently they reported, and it was a good number. Apparently. So I heard on the market recap show, but I don't know.
The market recap show was crazy.
How about this?
Oh my God.
Until NVIDIA pulls back, let's say, I'm going to throw a number out there, whether you like it or not, 20, let's say 20%. Until NVIDIA pulls back 20%, Sharif's not allowed to shave his beard because that's what the people want. Because it only goes up. I think that's what we should do. That's
Sharif hitting the fail, by the way.
What, you don't think NVIDIA can pull back 20%?
I don't want to be tied in to what NVIDIA is or not doing, Neil. I just want to live my life free of a beard.
Here, how about this? What if your mom said she liked the beard back? What would happen?
My mom hates the beard, Sean. Yeah, she was pleased as punch.
I knew that might be the one person that could change your mind.
Sharif's mom.
Okay. Maybe she'll show up in the chat. Who knows? And then we'll get a comment.
Or I can just say I'll eat the Vegemite when they pull back 20%, and then I'll never have to eat the Vegemite because it only goes up. Stonks only go up unless you're Rivian, Lucid, or Etsy, and some other small caps that I wasn't really paying attention to. But wow. Wow is all you got to say. Like, I mean, this was a situation where everyone thought the numbers would be good, but you're like, yeah, but the stock will probably do what it did that last earnings in November, where it gapped up and failed it, because that's what happened on a great report, but not this time. This time I guess it's the expectations. Too many people were thinking, yeah, it's going to pull back going into this. I was one of those. I sold some arms up at like 130 something. It's absolutely wild. My quote board is just littered with positivity. I sort it by alphabetical, but like today, and this is just the stuff that I track. Like it's everything is to the upside. And what's down today? Well, obviously, there you go. UBXY, NAC gas after the big day is actually down. But it is all all good. And right now everyone's interested in what is going to be next for NVIDIA because it was so much of the big cap tech names in the cloud space making the big purchases. Can they actually expand that? That's going to be the next question mark for them. There's still a lot to trade. I said at the end of the show, do not get married to just the gap direction on anything, because it's not always that way. I will not forget in November when NVIDIA actually ended up on exuberance tanking off of the open after gapping up and making fresh highs. So don't write anything off, but you got to be looking at the chips today. You're going to want to be looking at some EV names today. Don't sleep on Google. I don't care about that Gemini image news that had a strong day yesterday.
Yeah. Google will get it all figured out. Yeah, congratulations, guys. And again, thank you for making yesterday's market recap show the greatest show of all time. We promised, we delivered. Thank you for all the nice comments. Join me tonight. We have some more trades or some more. I mean, we were watching NVIDIA live when it was down at 650, and we were showing you guys the level 2 and the fact that there was a refresher buyer there, and then all of a sudden it popped up like $30. The chat was going insane, and I know a lot of you made a lot of money there. So I want to thank Trader Tammy for coming through and just how good that was when we had the RIVN numbers, the Lucid numbers. It was absolutely insane. A stock that I want to look at a little undercover, we'll get the sticky note out in just a minute, is Palantir. Neil asked me the other day if we were sold some Palantir. I almost spit up a little bit, but I mean, you're right back up to these levels. Now I'm thinking, in and around 25, if we can get up there, then you'd be, you've just gained 10% in a day and a half, if that can happen. We'll get back up to those levels, but there are some interesting things here that I'm looking at for Palantir. Let's look at that dip buy level that we've talked about numerous times over at 2380 area or so for Palantir, but we're gonna get it all out, man. I mean, what a number yesterday for NVIDIA. At some point, it's coming to an end, and that 20% bet, honestly, I think you can cash 20% down in NVIDIA maybe in a month, but not now. Let it continue to go up. An interesting name for me is going to be ARM today. I'm actually wrote it down here. I think, there was a lot of action up here. I'm gonna go find out what all this was all about here. I don't know about the volume here. It wasn't too big, couple thousand shares, but back and forth there was kind of strange to me. So I wrote down 136 as a break long here on ARM because it goes back a couple days back into here, I guess the 16th. The reason why I want to look at ARM, and I was talking about this with Obi yesterday after hours, he was still here around 5 o'clock, so shout out to Obi. They were all staying back for ARM and for the recap show and stuff. But, this name could be the one that really, really gets going because they have the float problem. So just like our boy SMCI, they're going because nothing's going to ever want to stop this, it seems like. Back up here, look at this name, 700 yesterday at the report, up to 830 right now. I just look at ARM and I think there's possibly a chance for it to blow huge back up to the upside. And then I'm going to ask people who's going to stand in there and sell that name, because with such a low, I mean, look at SMC at 80%. With such a low float there on ARM, it's going to be a brave soul to sit in there, and I think, and short this name today. So let's wait to see. It's only up 7%. Could be completely the other way. But I do like that rhetoric up here of a 136 break. So we'll wait for that, and I already have my order in. I'm just giving you guys some ideas here because we're going to go, I'm not sure if we have Raheem today or not. But another trade here is RIVN breaking 1250. Through the bottom. So that's going to be another trade that could trigger in the pre-market here. So again, wow, RIVN. When Brendan said down 18%, I want to talk to you about this too, Neil, at some point when we get to RIVN, but down 18%, that surprised me where we were, because yesterday on that report, we didn't get hit too much. We were bouncing around 1350, now down to 1250. But let's get over that when we...
Yeah, we'll talk about this. I think the all-time low... Is it? Well,
the 1168 is the 52
1168 is the 52-week low. I shouldn't say thing. It is the all-time low.
Is it? Yeah, I just know it's 52 weeks.
Yeah, I don't want to say that if it's wrong. I know the 50. Yeah, it is the all-time low. I think that's in play on RIVN today. Although I had to.
Yeah, it is.
We had it was like, just not to get off top. We'll go back to the desk in a second, but. Adara this morning, the watch list was getting put together, and we're of course talking about some of these things. She's like, I can't believe RIVN was just $25 back in December. And then we're like, yeah, well, you also probably couldn't believe that RIVN was well over $150. And I remember, this is the crazy thing about IPOs. Like, everybody made money long on the first day of that IPO, and it just looks hilarious now because if you hung on, well, it's not funny to anyone that owns stock from then and got burned, but it's just when you look at this, the amount of destruction is insane. Because ARM, I know a lot of people that say ARM's overvalued when it came out to market, and that actually shot up. There were a lot of people that were like, RIVN, I heard way too many people that liked it up in those hundreds, which is crazy to me. But I still think you can hit that bottom. We had Randy. I think Randy's going to have some notes about them as well. But
well, that's what I was going to ask you, because I know you nibbled a bit up there in the 20s. I just don't.
No, my only buy
was something.
And I said, no, it was in front of the 15.
Okay, yeah,
I bought 16 in front of the 15. And then when asked about it, when it was in the money at the 25s, I said, if I was swinging this, I would be out. But this is not a swing. I have a small percentage of my TFSA that, to me, I put in shot plays.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I'm talking the kind of things that I'm okay if it goes to zero. That's when I made the Tellurian play. Like, that was that little portion of it. Right now, that portion of my TFSA is in Rivian and Moderna because I consider them shot plays. So generally speaking, I'm willing to lose like either 40 to 50%. If it's a penny stock, sometimes all of it. But if I had been swinging, I'd be out. And I only add to it if it continues to look good, and maybe a shot play turns into an investment, but that's under rare circumstances. So I think, like, I'll be asking myself the next quarter if it's below $10, whether I just want to give it up. But I'm thinking it's just a long-term, like, lotto kind of pick or bet, because that's what you're doing in the EV space right now. If you're not investing in Tesla, you're just trying to pick a winner because they're all bums.
All right, we're short now. Rivian, Rivian just breaking here. We get 48s on a 50 break. So, oops, I got to put my shirt over here like that. All right, so let's see what happens now. There goes Rivian trying to break around. Give this a little bit of room. You know, 1260, 1270, something like that. Unfortunately, we talked about it. It is one of the names on the sticky note here at 1250, which is why I want to discuss that before we got through the day here. So, all right, we're short now, Rivian. Let's give this at least to the 50 period, which is 1270. So we'll see where it goes from here, but short Rivian, early position.
I sold it.
You sold it?
Let's just say there was a lack of liquidity in the market yesterday. I might revisit before that March 7th date coming up. Remember, March 7th we get that R2 platform, but yeah, that was ugly.
And you might get it at a better price.
Today, for sure. Yeah, no Raheem today. Unfortunately, Raheem he messaged me this morning and said he was on his way to a mine in Spain. So Raheem has been traveling all over the world the past couple of weeks. So shout out to him. He'll be back in a couple of weeks. Wayfair, they reported this morning, their call also started at 8 o'clock. So we did get a bit of a run up there about 8:25. The call is still on. There are a few comments coming through here, but remember there is a short percent involved in Wayfair as well. We'll also get the, as I mentioned, 9:45, we get some manufacturing data, some housing data coming up at 10 o'clock. But then get ready, because starting at 10 o'clock, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different Fed speakers.
Jeez. Wow, yeah, we had some yesterday. More, I guess, with this blackout period over. But to talk about Wayfair, guys, they posted a smaller than expected loss. The street was looking for a bigger loss here. They're also cost cutting. So they're going to be laying off about 10% of their workforce. Not exactly sure how many jobs that is, Brendo, but we'll have to keep an eye on this one. Up nicely, 11 1/3%.
Yeah, the data on my platform is not updating at the moment, but I was going to get that short percent for everyone for W, guys.
I saw like 24, 25%. I was just checking it, but then the first thing I wanted to do was double check Carvana that reports tonight. Carvana is much higher at 35%. By the way, if you think earnings season is done, Carvana is probably going to have some fireworks after the bell tonight for you there, Sean, in the aftermarket show. I think that's kind of that's the mover. But today's short float runner, it's hard to call Wayfair today's short float runner when SMCI is double digits short float and it's an earnings day for NVIDIA. So, but that said, it's up 11%. We've seen this one do some crazy things before. And what could give you that juice is just how boring it's been. Sometimes a stock like this, when it gets really boring and coils up, you get a bit of a beat, and then you have that short float, and you can get a breakout. But my rule of thumb is, if it's a squeeze name, it needs to be breaking out. You need to be taking out resistance, and above it, shorts to be covering and for things to be exciting. So I got it's like 56 is the 50 period up here, and you can also loosely look at the local highs up around that price. So unless this gets through there, I'll zoom it out a little bit more. Yeah, that's good enough. Unless it gets through that, I think it's going to be in some trouble. It was above there at a close at 56, and then it kind of rejected that there January 26th, 27th. So it needs to get above that price, and then I'd start looking for a bit of a squeeze. Just not as exciting on a squeeze play if you're trading inside of the range to me. Otherwise, you're trying to find some kind of bottom anywhere. And I just wanted to note something, because I was looking over at Lucid when Rivian broke lows. Lucid is, I know down 8% isn't a good thing today, but they didn't have a great report either, although maybe not as bad as Rivian's, some might say. But a little bit of a bounce in Lucid and not really falling. So these are not going lockstep. It'll be interesting to see if Rivian hits the all-time low and Lucid doesn't break even last week's support. This could be an interesting bounce play because they have a much larger short float, Lucid does, at 31%. So I don't wonder if Rivian bears the brunt here if Lucid ends up being a better bounce play. This wouldn't even be SSR until it got to like 333. So it would have to be lower than 333 at the open, then it would be an SSR bounce play. Rivian's going to open up down 10% for sure.
Yeah, Rivian's holding right now. I'm just tweeting out this position so everybody can see it, and I'll tag at Trader TV right now just to get that position out there. But yeah, I didn't look at Wayfair, so we will not look at that. Shout out to when we show. Shout out to SneakerCon. This is a Dennis Rodman T-shirt.
Worm.
Yeah, from SneakerCon. He was a guest there. And they actually, at SneakerCon, they had Donald Trump at SneakerCon in Philadelphia. You know that Donald Trump released his own shoe line?
Yeah, I saw that. They,
Yeah, they sold out. Yeah, it was hilarious. He was posting all about that. So, hey, man, funding secured, I guess, you know, when you're talking about that kind of stuff. So get your hot sneakers.
Everybody's got a shoe.
I saw that. All right, well, I'm trying to put on a couple different pairs of shoes here as well, and hopefully Rivian can pay for that. We're just short 48 right now, waiting. I just put down in the chat that, or on the Twitter machine. Oh, yes.
Sorry.
Sure it's falling? I see what you did there.
Good job.
But I'll get it fixed. I'm gonna do up my jacket. But anyways, long story short is hopefully Rivian can go down. We just put out that we're gonna get out at 1270 if it breaks higher. So that's what we're doing. Oh, they were $3.99, eh, for the Trump sneakers? Wow. Okay, $4. Yeezy kind of prices up in there. All right, back over to the desk and I'll get this fixed.
Man. Ramin's hand, the star of the show.
Oh, God.
The dollar back to the upside right now. We had a decent sized move down on that initial jobless claims. We touched 103.5. We're right back to 104 now on the DXY. So just be aware here. Yields back to the upside temporarily as well. So I mean, nothing in the way of significant data to come today outside of, as we said, manufacturing data coming up at 9:45 and then some housing data at 10 o'clock. I just saw this one as well. Speaking of short side of things, CVNA is going to report after the close tonight. So another one maybe to keep in mind. Sitting here at $50 this morning for Carvana.
Yeah, to build on your point about the dollar, Brenda, we saw the 20-year come out yesterday, and it was not well received by participants in the auction. That led to the 20-year itself increasing its yield. The 10 and the 30, they both went up. We'll see what they do today. With respect to Carvana, though, we've seen in the CPI numbers and the PCE numbers that the biggest area of disinflation has been used cars. How does that affect their margins? Are they still holding on to cars that they bought at a premium? So a lot of questions to be answered for this company, but look, it's outperforming where I thought it would be at this time of the year, given where interest rates are. We'll have to see how they do.
It's also worth noting here this morning that it's not just NVIDIA on the AI front to the upside today, even these little ones. I mean, SoundHound, there's this Big Bear AI, like all these little ones that popped after the close on the NVIDIA number yesterday, set to open higher this morning as well.
Yeah, it's like it's the rising tide lifting all the ships. Like right now, the tide is AI and NVIDIA is like it's the captain. It's not, you can't even call it the captain because it is the entire market. Just one note, Bitcoin is actually at the lows right now. So there's some weakness in there. For anyone tracking crypto, I know I said the only things that were weak were Rivian and Lucid and Etsy, but maybe a bit of a difference because I'm actually looking at some weakness over there in crypto. Worth keeping an eye on if we retest that 50,000 level and maybe you get a bounce. But for squeeze names like SOUN here, it would be interesting if it could take out this 430 because it had gap up, holding, NVDA investment, yada yada yada, all that good stuff. But it needs to break out. Like it's not great sort of hanging off those highs because this is not a $4 name that you're risking 5-10 cents on. So it's not really all that great to try to just sort of hang out here at $4.10. It needs to break the 430 level, if not even the 450 level, if that's the futures. And then from there, you've got a double top at $5. So if you're watching SOUN, like you break out from this range, I would like to think you get to $5, but you got to keep an eye on NVIDIA here. We've talked about relative strength, relative weakness, leading indicators, playing sympathy plays. So if you're trading any of these ancillary names, you've got to keep an eye on what's going on with the big boy. And you don't want to be punching a breakout long in SOUN if NVIDIA is somehow cracking 750 to the downside. So you got to be careful with that. But this does look like one of those that can benefit, and it's got room to go. It just needs to hold bids. First above the 420 level, 420, 430, and then the 450 break, I think can get you to 5. I'd be wary of that $5 level, however. Big double top there. And that was the January top and then July last year.
We just got a little piece out there on Rivian as it goes to the downside. Thank you so much, Randy. I like it. I like how you put the boom on there, man. Here we go. I still have basically a full coffee. All right, cheers. Good luck.
Cheers. Hopefully it's a little better.
I'm already short Rivian. You like that position, short Rivian?
So yeah, numbers are numbers. I mean, the good thing about
Well, that's nice and hot, but the coffee still tastes like crap.
It's like water.
it's kind of the
watered
grinder's
down.
kind of not doing its thing. The only good thing I found in the Rivian report last night was their cash burn is slower. Production's flat, 57,000 ish.
Under
So-
expectations of 80, though, right?
Right, and again, the R2 is
also short,
forthcoming. It's going to cost them money to get this thing out the door, but they're expecting a rise in revenue this forecasted year, so that's good. 1,000 layoffs, 10% of their workforce, salaried employees, so they're trying to get leaner. I think they can see the light at the end of the tunnel here. So let's get this R2 out the door. Brendan's going to give us a look into next week. Yeah. And we'll buy the dips for now.
Buy the dips.
Buy the dips in the March 7th. Okay.
Buy the dips. Okay, maybe we'll have to do some of that. All right, thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate it,
That's a what's up. Adam DeLu says he missed the Traders Stay Late. Wow. Yeah, if you missed it, you missed it, Adam. My bad. I saw you just talked there about you missed that 650 buy. Yeah. I mean, we had a lot of people buying down there. So anyways, yeah, NVIDIA continues to run up. We did take a little piece out on Rivian. Let's see if it continues to go down. It looks like Randy just talked that name up a couple pennies. We'll see if Rivian gets going here or not. I'm working on the sticky note. That'll be in your Twitter. And, well, it might already be on Instagram. You can go find it right there. We actually just hit 7,000 followers on Instagram. So if you guys are over there, go find me. It's at tradertv.Sean on Instagram. I have no idea how to go to my profile. Oh, there it is down here. If and when it loads. Here we go. Oh, 7,020. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you so much for all. Oh, yeah, by the way, here's something cool. If you're going to go on my Instagram, this was me and my little kids just a couple weeks ago. He's wearing his NHL All-Star stuff. We've got on he's wearing his hockey hat there. She's got her jersey on. And there we were at the markets recap show. Traders and kids stay late. So there it is right there. Thank you so much to Marissa for putting this up. This was last week. 135 likes. That means a lot. Thank you so much for all of that. Go over to Instagram and let's grow this page as well, man. Right now, over 7,020 followers. So thank you so much. Often imitated, never duplicated. It's at Trader TV Sean. And it's over to the big desk with the big guys.
Ian was adjusting cameras and not at his seat. Let's get some analyst moves for you to start things off this morning, and Dara has some upgrades and downgrades over at the screen.
NVIDIA, one of many price target increases here. This one from KeyBank, up to $1,100 after those knockout earnings last night. Uber getting an upgrade here from BTIG Research, trading up about 2.5%. DoorDash getting an upgrade as well from Morgan Stanley, and ASML getting a nice boost after an upgrade from HSBC Securities. Lucid here, the first on the downgrades list after its earnings last night. This downgrade coming from Cantor Fitzgerald. This is the second downgrade in 2 days for Wendy's. This one today coming from Bernstein. Etsy getting a downgrade from BTIG Research after their earnings report last night after close. And Gilead, last but not least, getting a downgrade from Truist, trading down just about 1% today, guys.
I mean, obviously, there's some names on there we're going to get into on the watch list. No question about it. Like Lucid on earnings, not too much of a surprise that they got the downgrade. But Uber's an interesting one. If only because, and I have it marked off, like it's about the $80 level. Like Uber was on an absolute tear. It's sort of reverse course. You can see it here, call it a head and shoulders, whatever you like to call it. But since then, it made a nice bounce off 76, and it's been trying to get up to that shoulder, which is the lower high at 80 bucks. So I don't wonder if it doesn't run into a little bit of trouble there if this market can't keep things up. Remember, yeah, you just had a number where there was some signs that the labor market's still a little bit strong, and that's what we have to pay attention to. Like the Fed has basically told us that we need to pay attention to the labor market and to what's essentially going on with inflation, whether or not it was like a temporary blip or whether it's actually looking like it's coming back to the upside. And that's why things got pushed off into June for rates. It's exactly the kind of thing that can put a little bit of pressure and start having people sell at some of these highs. So I look at that 80 level on Uber. Maybe we get there, maybe we don't. We're at 78, but it's a nice head and shoulders. And when you bounce off that double bottom, I usually I think, okay, when you go from there, you're going to get to the next level up. That next level up's a couple of bucks away on Uber. If we're sitting there in the afternoon or late morning and it's cresting at 80 bucks, then I know that's a place I'd be interested in looking for a scalp short.
Yeah, I think Uber was just beat up a little bit there because we talked about that yesterday with some of the valuation, just upside there. You had Pan get hit, you had NVIDIA making highs of 740, then making the move down to 660 or whatever it was. So I just feel like Uber did get wrongfully treated there. They're firing on all cylinders. I really like Uber as well. I like Palantir today. We talked about that. That might just be a name that we don't get to. So I am upgrading Palantir today as well. But the thing is like, I'm wondering now, I wrote down 2380. It's fallen down quite nicely here right now. So we're going to have to watch out for this name. Some of these beat up names that were sold off based on valuation, the valuation is still quite high. On a lot of these names, when you're looking to price to earnings ratios and things like that, the S&P 500 is now at all time, or close enough. Well, I'll check the data, but you're getting those huge PE multiples right now that are still in the market. So there's going to be a lot of names that I think are a little overvalued, but I really like Palantir. I like that move back upside. I feel like there was a sell imbalance on it. Was that what I saw earlier? No, it was a buy. Okay, so a buy imbalance on that. We'll have to let that settle down. Could get a little bit of a dip in. Maybe 2350 now. We just bounced off 2380. That's coming in the sticky note, which is out in 2 seconds here. But for right now, yeah, 2380 looks like a nice little dip by here for PLTR. So nice move back. Nice to see 6% on its head. But again, if the market falls back in, these are the kind of names you want to short. Palantir, DraftKings, and all that. You have to be bullish on the market today to be buying some of these tops. I mean, I said yesterday, if NVIDIA beats, you're going to have a day like today on the NASDAQ, and this is not, we're just started. The market's not even open yet. So let's wait to see what happens. They're either going to want to carry the day or start to sell off some of these numbers because the NASDAQ's back to 17.9. So we're getting back into that 18,000 area. Is there enough juice to get it going based on one stock? We'll see if that can carry again. It's NVIDIA today, and obviously we'll be talking about that. You can see Bitcoin here in the bottom, trying to make a little bit of a move back. Neil highlighted that it was under 51, now trying to bounce a little bit, so that's nice to see. 51,150 now, Bitcoin holding that level. So let's see, that could be another interesting trade, man. If we get near 50,000 today, that could be really interesting on a stock like Mara and Coinbase and Square and PayPal and just the names that generally glide around. What was the other one? Riot was one that we used to trade a little bit. And then there's like BT, and anyways, we'll look at them all. And then you have the ETFs, IBIT, ARKB, HODL, things like that. So, all right, it's 9 o'clock. Let's go over to the desk and start going through the rundown.
The first 30 minutes of the show brought to you by our friends over at Hedgeye. Free All Access Week features 10 high-performance investing products. Hedgeye's team of analysts produce alpha-generating trade ideas on a daily basis. Get 7 days of free access at hedgeye.com/TTV. Let's, as the guys mentioned there, get a look at the overall market to kick things off. Sharif's going to have a look at the futures.
All-time highs, guys, on the ES. We did that obviously overnight due to the NVIDIA move, but we closed out yesterday at 49.96. Let's just say 5,000. Okay, so 5,000 area for support. Debt will see that today. It's a blue sky setup, no resistance areas off which to work right now. The overnight high, though, is 50.67 3/4, Brendo.
If you haven't done so yet, make sure you grab that. Very easy. You can scan that QR code or go to watchlist.tradertv.live, enter your email address, and then you get everything you need to know in one email every single morning. It arrives typically before we come on at 8:30. There was a lot of people, I think, maybe a few around here even, myself included, that were a little bit concerned about what was going to happen with NVIDIA's report. I mean, the initial move, and I think even some selling came in. If you're watching the aftermarket action last night, some selling came in even before the numbers came out. So people were anticipating that it was going to be maybe a little bit negative, and then it was nothing but straight to the upside.
Yeah, the algos were not going to let you have an easy trade there, Brendo. They pushed it down before they pushed it back up. I was having a look at that. But guys, this is a ridiculous report for NVIDIA, and I'll give you an example of why. So their earnings grew 769% year over year. But at the same time, their revenue only grew 265%. How's that the variance? Because their margins are exploding. 78.5% gross margins. That is not something typical for a physical product, only for a SaaS or a service. So unbelievable report. We'll have to see how they do the rest of the year.
Unsurprisingly. Not a lot of buyers up here this morning, however, guys. We're just kind of drifting lower back towards 750.
We said this, if you go all the way back, it seems like forever ago when NVIDIA was at $500, but it wasn't. You're just talking about the beginning of this year and also into November. The vast difference between the pullback in November on that little fail on earnings was that it was into a double top at 500, so maybe that has something to do with it. So, you see, it was, again, a fantastic report, good report, and it tried to break out, ended up pulling back, and then the rest is history, because that dip was like a 10% move, and then it absolutely flew. Like, when it failed that double top, it's like, okay, there's the NVIDIA top, everyone's saying, and then there you go to the upside. So, like, if there's not a lot of buyers up there, I think it's for the same reason why you had jittery sellers in the going into earnings, because people think it's flying a little bit too far. But the numbers are still supporting it. I don't think you want to get in its way when it starts to rally, but until that happens, you just gotta be wary of the fact that there's still some heaviness. And at that open in November, it was pop and fade. Like, it was grinding down in the pre-market off of a gap up, and it tried to get through pre-market resistance, which right now I'm putting at 765, and it faded that. So if we cannot break out the 765, I don't think I'd want to be punching long breakouts on chip names if NVIDIA is not taking out that 765. If it does, I think you've got an all systems go type of day. The previous resistance was 740 to 745. I think it was like 43. So I think that's the spot where I'd be looking for some buys. I actually do have a name that I'm interested in for a pop. Just immediately almost looking at that short, because Intel is still, for all the stocks breaking out in the chip space today, Intel's not even through its earnings resistance. And I said in the afternoon show, these guys already had their bad report, so if they stay inside of the range, you can respect it. If it breaks out, fine. If it's above 45.50, then you go Intel. I own it in the long term, but I still think in that 45 to 45.50 zone, until proven otherwise, that's a sell zone for me. It's going to be very cautious off of this open. I think if NVIDIA can take out 765, it can really go, but that 743, that previous resistance is a dip spot, and I still like that Intel pop and fade.
All right, so I just put it out. It's the same thing I talked about every time we have an earnings play. The sticky note is now out. I sort of pinned to some of these economic events, but right here, it's a pretty simple trade, VWAP levels. That's it. There's been selling here in the AM. Let's see what it does around VWAP. Either big money keeps it under and we go short, or we go long. It's actually pretty easy. So, you know, and again, everybody's, you know, trading styles, go find a sticky note. I wrote down some good information there, I feel like, anyways. But, so there it is. It's been selling in the pre-market. This is not real liquidity yet. It's 4 million shares. I like that number for sure. So if you want to trade it now, that's fine. But I just want to see what happens here off the open. I mean, for it to bump up $15, or I guess VWAP right now is and you can, this is a legitimate VWAP now because there's enough volume here. So 762 it looks like, and we'll reassess this. First of all, Rivian's coming in a little bit here. We'll reassess this NVIDIA trade once the market's open. But if it stays underneath VWAP all day, then we have to sell it until it breaks. It has to be sold. So a couple bucks in front of it, I think we sell this until it breaks back above. So let's give this at least a couple minutes, like 33, 34, something like that. Let it settle down early and then go. But I'm not going anywhere until we break VWAP. So if the long happens, it's gonna have to be at whatever this level is. So volume weighted average price, that's it. If they can get it higher, like look at this, it's cranking. I mean, it's basically supported this level the whole way. So now let's wait to see what happens. Looks like we're gonna take down 750 here. The past all-time high for NVIDIA was 740. I mean, it ticked up here, 746, 745-ish. So I feel like we will go back and test those levels on NVIDIA, but lots of money to be made here today. Just let's play it and make it as simple as possible. Let's just use VWAP. It's pretty easy peasy for sure. And then Rivian, we just take another fill right there, down at 40. Both my fills are at 40. So hopefully it goes down lower than that. We have more bids here at 36. Here it comes. And then we have a 30 bid. And then hopefully we'll have enough of this from the rest of the day. I don't know if you guys remember yesterday, but Rivian yesterday at $16 was the short that we had real early. That's NVIDIA yesterday short, obviously. And then here's Rivian yesterday. So it was on my sticky note yesterday there as earnings. Tonight, you know, we'll get it. And then there it goes, boom to the downside. So we were short $16 on Rivian yesterday. It's funny that that was like my first trade yesterday, and today it's a banger one more time here as we short again at 12.50, and it starts to go down. So here we go. Yes, sir. It's already a nice little move here for Rivian as we start to head lower. So far, so good. Shout out to my guy Ponzi Fonzie.
Crazy.
That's unreal.
Yeah, let's talk. We were just talking about Kia. Off topic, but we'll touch on Rivian here. That's what got us started on that topic. Yeah, this is getting ugly in a hurry here. 20% coming inbound pretty quick. Yeah, I mean, you and I were just talking about the fact that RJ, you know, pointing to macroeconomic issues and higher interest rates and inflation still hurting the sales process overall. But I mean, they're still making more than they're selling.
Yeah.
There's 7,000 extra here that they couldn't even sell last year.
Exactly. Now they produced 57,232 vehicles. They sold 50,122, and they want to produce the same amount of cars this year. No growth. And that's really what's scaring me and what's scaring a lot of analysts. Let's look at what they did well. Sadly, you know, one hates to point this out, but they're cutting their workforce, Brendo, by about 10% to get costs under control. They also got into a bit of a bidding war there at the end of last year with the R1T pickup and the R1S SUV being dropped by $3,100, which obviously ate into margins, as well as the price war for EVs heated up last year with Tesla and their price cuts. So tough luck here for Rivian.
Yeah, remember this is coming too. R2 coming up on March 7th, guys.
Yep.
That's right, March 7th, as you mentioned. Rivian's been talked about a little bit here. 1168 is the all-time low. So I feel like that's, whether that happens today or tomorrow or next week, I think you're probably headed there. And it's going to open up, like I said, it's going to open up 10% down. When I look for SSR bounce plays, it's got to be either off a gigantic level, which is what 1170 would be, or like the nearest round dollar around it. So that's $12 or 1150. I think it can get to that price. At the end of the day, like, I was looking for a pop and fade on Rivian, but the only thing I'll note is Lucid, who also reported and wasn't necessarily as bad, is actually holding up pretty decently. So I don't wonder if you're bearing the brunt of this with Rivian, if Lucid doesn't represent a bit of a squeeze play if it cannot take out those lows. So I'm almost thinking the other direction. Also, by the way, Nikola reported this morning as well, if you're interested in it. I didn't see a ton of movement in Nikola, but I think these two are going to do the better volume, both Rivian and Lucid. And when looking for an SSR bounce, you've got to be very patient. There were winners on PanW, but you had to be super, super patient looking for the levels to form and not just buying any single price.
I didn't even realize that I had a bid there on Palantir, so I get out pretty much immediately as that just fell in. We'll hold a small piece. But we are saying bye-bye, ciao, to Rivian. I mean, we tweeted this out, guys, 30 minutes ago when we were in this position at 840. You know, we talked about this earlier. I talked about it. I thought we were having Raheem, so we talked about this as soon as we came on air, where it was right now. We were also trying to play pop and fades, right? But this was a big level. It took out the bottom. We talked about breaking down through pre-market bottoms, and the pop and fade for me is still there. But now it's at 1250. Watch out for VWAP 1266. I am out of about 35% of this trade right now as I was sitting there bidding 30s and was like, okay, if that comes in, that'd be fantastic. So we get hit there. And then we got some 26s and 27s, and I'm bidding 26 again right now to get down to about out of 40%. So I feel like we could crank lower and lower and lower. But like I said, we'll hold this. We'll see if we can test some of those lows. And I didn't even look at Lucid or Nikola today. So I'm just focusing on Rivian. This is the stock that got me, and we'll see if we can do it. Was a banger for me yesterday. We'll see if we can put it on the board here again today.
All right, let's talk about Alphabet. Google back to the upside this morning to the tune of 2%. So they've pulled the image generating portion of Gemini off the shelf for the time being. Because of some issues with historical accuracy.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a little bit of a why.
Eek.
I mean, it's not. It needs to be accurate, obviously,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It doesn't seem like. I mean, I don't know what they were judging it on or based on. I mean, it seemed like it was just comments on social media, but. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it still doesn't seem to be bothering the stock too much here this morning.
No. I mean, it's something that they just pulled off the air, and I'm sure that they'll fix that. Essentially, what it was somebody prompting the engine to generate a picture of the founding fathers, and then there were colored people in there, and we know that wasn't the case. So that's a look. Now, it was supposed to only stop generating images of individuals. It was still allowed to generate images of other things, inanimate objects, but that's been pulled as well. And it wasn't just me. I was trying to test it this morning. Also, the CNBC reporter tried to do the same thing. So we'll have to wait and see, Brendo. I think it's something that can fix easily.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope so. Anyways, not a good look. Sora, on the other hand, from OpenAI. Have you seen the videos that this thing can produce?
Amazing.
It's
amazing.
It's incredible. So yeah, Google has some work to do here, guys.
Clearly.
They can fix that problem. Look, like you said, they can fix that problem. I don't think it's that big of a deal to the stock. Obviously, it's never a good look when the engine fails and you have to pull back a little piece or a piece of the service. And anyone can, if you want to look up the pictures and understand like why it was clearly like mistakes. It was nonsense. Like you prompted for certain things and it would just be completely ridiculous. So essentially, it's just they'll have to fix the coding or in the back end. Google was a rocket ship yesterday, relatively speaking. You know, obviously today everything is gapping a heck of a lot more, and it's not going to be leading the market. It's actually even with the NASDAQ as we speak. But the 144 level, 144 support into resistance. Like, where do I come up with things? Generally speaking, if I look at a trend, I say, what is the next stop in the trend? And then the 144 level sticks out. You do have the close at 142.50 if things got a little bit hairy that would work down into this area. But if you dip into 144, it's the first place I'd be looking for a bounce on Alphabet. I don't know why I have a 151 line. That should have been here at 149.50. I seriously doubt we get into the monster resistance level. But up here at 147, on Alphabet, that's a spot that if you're long, I'd be looking to take profits out in front of it. Like that's an easy target, pre-market highs and then that level. So if we do dip and the NASDAQ decides to sell a little bit here, you've seen NVIDIA start to come back, then that 144 on Alphabet's what I like.
Oh, man. I mean, props up, man. Anybody who was here at 8:30 that have this Rivian trade, Wow. So now, unfortunately, we only have a third left, but now we might as well. Like, it just came into tens right now. I'll put another bid. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Let's put another bid at 04. I don't know how far. I mean, we've already done some damage here today on Rivian. Okay, look. For me, we put it already on the sticky note. It's 144 level. Neil just talked about it. I really like this. Oh, by the way, we just got to put a tweet out here. The Mag 7 right now, accompanied by lack of short interest. So there's actually no short interest pretty much at all. They're pretty much at lows right now, short interest on Mag 7. So despite this move going all the way up, nobody's shorting it, which is very, very interesting. There's Google right here, 144. If we pull back, I like it here. End of story. That's it. It's pretty simple, man. You know, we're getting, obviously, we think we're getting much better reading charts, and that's just a play down there for Google down at 144. And of course, I got a little scared there of Palantir because as I was like, oh my God, let's not let our profits go away on Palantir because we have a bad level, what we're making on Rivian. So we did get out of Palantir two-thirds of this trade as we broke through that 80 mark. So we take no hit really at all. Let's just see what happens now. Wow, there it goes again, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if anybody's in this or not, but good out, Brendo, yesterday for sure. I am looking to buy Rivian at some point. That point might not be now, as Rivian right now with a haircut down 20, and we just crushed that trade right there. We also get Palantir at 88, so that's going to be a good fill for us upside right now. So that's going to be good. And then there goes Rivian now going through 1204. And again, man, we posted this up. If you're looking for real trade ideas, okay, ones that you guys can trade and hopefully hold for a little bit, this Rivian trade, we put this out, like I was saying 40 minutes ago, 846. Look at the level 2. When I tweeted it out, the level 2 was right here against me. So there it is right there. Healthy, healthy. We'll see where we can go with Rivian. Obviously, if our out is going to be 20 cents and we're now in the money 40, you know, we're starting to take some of that. It's Rivian, and it's great to be short that name. Sorry about all the longs out there. I'll get it back.
I wonder if, no, we were just talking about that. If, like, all these struggling EV makers specifically in 10 years from now, if you bought a Rivian and whatever, worst case scenario, they end up failing, you know, you bought a Rivian, you're driving around with something that
Can't fix it.
you have nowhere to fix it, you have no service station or anything like that. Anyway, let's go on. Wayfair well off the high here this morning from the pre-market. They reported the call was at 8 o'clock, so I'm sure it's over by now, but we did get a little bit of a run up there during the earnings call. Remember, yeah, depending on where you look, 20+% on the short side here for Wayfair.
Yeah, look, I mean, it was a shallower than expected loss in the fourth quarter, but really what sent the stock up was the comments made by the CEO. They're going to continue to streamline costs. They're eliminating, sadly, about 10% of their workforce, but they are looking at pursuing new avenues. So we'll have to see how they do. The market likes what they had to say so far, Brendo.
I've said this before on this show, and I'll say it again. Every experience I've had on Wayfair has been over the top positive, so it's tough to hear that they're struggling, but very, very easy if you want to order something.
I haven't had a negative experience on Wayfair because I don't have any experience with Wayfair. But that said, I've traded it once, and that was when it was squeezing. We talked about this before. Squeeze names have to squeeze. You got to be breaking out some highs. I like the 55, 56 area if it could get above it. The volume's good, but not great. I feel like Carvana tonight is going to be the more exciting high short float reporting name. It's up 6%, which is decent. And if it can consolidate, I do always like previous support into resistance. If it can consolidate above 50, it could go from there. But I'd much rather this be taking out, like just take out the 55s and 56s up here. And then I think you have a chance to really catch some people off guard. On a day where everybody's going to be looking at all of the chip names in tech, and then throw into that a couple of EV names, it's difficult to want Wayfair. It's like will it to make a breakout. It needs to do it itself. Otherwise, you're just getting way ahead of yourself. And I think when I talk about Carvana, It's almost double, not double the short float, but it's a 35% short float. And this is one with much more, a little more volatility going into it for tonight. This, I think, gets a little spicy tomorrow. It's been an actual upward trend, which has already been putting pressure on the shorts. And if it wanted to do something early, I mean, when you pull up a 15-minute chart of Carvana, if you don't see the 52 level, then you're not really looking very closely. So if this can take that out, maybe it doesn't even wait until after the bell. I don't even expect Carvana to have a good quarter. I think they're going to have a bad quarter. But for squeezes, it doesn't always matter here. So Wayfair, it's probably a pass. It had a chance to break out. It's already failed that breakout price. So I think you got to look elsewhere at this point and look forward to something like a Carvana. Like the movers are going to be in Rivian and the chips. I think today, throw in some Google, throw in some big cap tech as well.
All right, let's go on to Lucid, yet another non-Tesla EV maker to the downside this morning. This just made me kind of laugh. I was just saying to Sharif, I wonder if Gronk is now writing his one-liners. I mean, we all know the Saudi backing of Lucid here, but yeah, not good otherwise across the board for their earnings report.
What I read this morning about how much they lose per vehicle is kind of eye-watering here, Brendan, especially the lesser expensive of the two at a cool $100,000. Yeah, I mean, multiple downgrades today. You saw Dara mentioning that on the board. RF Lafferty maintaining Lucid with a coverage of hold and a price target of $4. So tough look. Let's see how they do.
Yeah, I mean, what was it, 330, I guess, at the bottom there after the close yesterday. It's crazy. This thing's $3.30 already. 8% though for Lucid.
Yeah, it's not doing as bad as Rivian. That's the best you can say for Lucid today. At $3.33, it'll be down 10%. It has not failed support, so whether you get a breakdown or not is going to be dependent at this open through that 330 level. I think that's pretty much it. Like if it fails that, if it goes 10% down and doesn't get through this February 13th bottom, then I think you've got an SSR bounce play in Lucid. Like I don't like it short until about 350 to 360. So to get into that range is, I think you're asking a heck of a lot for Lucid. The way I would see it is you got a couple, I don't know, 1.5 million shares of volume in Lucid. Rivian's done 8 million shares and it's roughly four times the price. So the actual notional volume going through on Rivian is significantly higher. That can be a good thing for Lucid in that it's not cascading to the downside, but it does mean most of the movement and trading opportunity looks like it's going to be in Rivian. We'll see if Nikola picks up in volume as well. But this one is leading the pack. 1168 again, that all-time low on Rivian. If it breaks 12 even, I think you see a little bit of a shot off that dip, and that's where I'm looking for an SSR bounce. It either happens right away at 12 or more likely that 1170 area. But Lucid, I'd only play it at that January 13th or February 13th low.
All right, I'm setting up for Rivian low. Actually, you know what? I wasn't muted, and then I just muted myself when I sat back down. That's hilarious. All right, so Rivian, we just got filled again at 12 flat there. I just have some bids at the 52-week lows. So breaking through 12, we'll sit there at the all-time lows, 1165, 1170, 1180. I don't know where this name goes. I feel like we could punch out the rest. Right now, we only have about 25% left of Rivian, but I want to try to hold one for the dream. I'm not going to talk about, like I said, I didn't look at Lucid today, so, but what I did look at was ARM. ARM's falling in here, right? So again, remember, I wrote down on the sticky note that I thought ARM on a pre-market break was going to be something, right? And that pre-market break would have been that 136 level. With NVIDIA bouncing nicely off 745, trying to get back to 750. We're still going to wait for 760 on NVIDIA. But going back to, push page up, I'm supposed to go to the last one, but I don't see something I'm doing wrong. ARM right now, again, I was looking at up here. I just wanted to, I'm still not certain what was going on here because the volume was still fine. Just back and forth for a while. So it's not, that's what I'm thinking, it's just dark pool stuff. So realistically, it's probably like a 133 break at this point. So I don't want to worry too much about all of that, but right there is 133. So the thing is that I don't know if that's going to be too late. I don't know if the squeeze is on or not here for ARM. So that's what I'm trying to base this on. So we'll have to wait to see a break of 133, but I'm adjusting that target now down a little bit now. So if we get to that side, then we will be all over that. We have more Trader TV Live. I don't have it loaded up yet, but I'll get that in a second. You can go there, see our stream, see the, now here it is right here. Oh wow, it went to my first thing there. Yeah, so more Trader TV Live. Let me see if my positions are right. Short Rivian, 1248, yes. And we just covered our Palantir because we wanted to get out of it. So yeah, that's about right, although we don't, that's probably wrong. Right there. We just sold Rivian again. Anyways, as we go, this will update. This is not exactly live probably, but this will update our positions. Neil's not in anything, so you can see that throughout the day. So I will just say in here, ciao to everybody, and we'll say hi and go find us on more Trader TV Live. We'll try to update the accuracy of our positions, but we can easily see them now because these ones will be accurate at the bottom and we'll just compare it. But thank you, all the feedback. Give it to Bears versus Bulls in the chat. Anything you want to see on that stream, let us know and we'll see if it's a possibility.
Yeah, I think when you're following the positions, what has been typically the most accurate thing, the stock that you're in and then the direction has never really been an issue. Sometimes the prices have been a bit of one, but you got about 4 minutes to go into the open. By way of the imbalances, we're not going to get NASDAQ until a little bit closer to the open, but right now it's CCL's up 5%, by the way. I know we've talked a lot of other names. CCL, 800,000 to buy, and Palantir, 1.3 million to buy. Those are the two that stand out. Carnival is actually a little bit interesting today. I know everyone's looking at the chip names, but up 5.5% after making a nice base at a pretty obvious area down here just underneath the $15. It's back above the 200 period moving average. It's on my radar. It's got a tight range. I tend to think if it goes dip and rip, maybe look for a pullback into that 15. So I have it on my radar. It's not the top of the list here on CCL, but it's there's so many things gapping today that you really do have to prioritize. Intel already flushed down into the 44.70 level. So it's already starting to show a little bit of weakness off of that 45 level. It got down to 44.50. It's right back into that 70, but it's off of its highs. Once it's above 45, I'm thinking fade on Intel. And NVIDIA just continues to hold right around 750 bucks. Remember what we said about what happened in November. In November, when it gapped up on earnings, NVIDIA was selling in the pre-market. It pushed into pre-market resistance and then failed that right at the open. So that would be a press into if it happens today, that'd be a press into $765 right in about here. And if it fades that price, I'm looking chip short. Intel is the one that I really like because it's already at resistance after its earnings. If you're breaking out 765, I think this stock could really fly, and you don't want to get in the way of anything. That's where ARM could start to go. That's where SMCI could go. And don't sleep on AMD. I know we didn't mention that one at all in the pre-market today. It's got huge resistance at 180. I don't think we see that today. I think 176 would be that key price it needs to press through. If NVIDIA can get through that 65, then AMD is going to need to get through the 76 corresponding to it.
Right. I mean, Rivian is now below $20. Now below $12 and making that low. So this is going to be probably my trade of the day, and it happened at 840. Shorting this 1250, we talked about it, man. Names that have been really struggling, breaking through pre-market highs or lows, those have been the trades for me on earnings, and they've been pretty simple. And so this is just hopefully another one here that we can, I'm going to take something out at 94 if I can get there. It is. Okay, wow. All right, well, that came in pretty easily. Now I'm going to put one down where I was before. I just canceled that. We'll go to 83, then we'll go to 77, man. I mean, this is like a dream come true here as Rivian just keeps on going to the downside. Like really, really missed on this, man. Wow. Thank you so much again. Just got a couple more emails and notes from people about the market recap show. It means a lot to me because, we're staying late. We're doing that up. We have another one tonight with a couple good earnings coming through. So we had over 6,500 people, probably more than way more than usual. And I just want to thank everybody for the support. Okay. Right now, there goes Rivian. Who cares? We're already in that one. Look at ARM. Look at what ARM just did. We talked about where ARM was possibly going to go. There's 133, man. I mean, again, to take the squeeze early might be something, but I mean, the spread already is 50 cents on ARM. We're going to watch out for that. Google falling back to 144 is something. My out on Rivian is back to flat because we only have 15% left of Rivian. So good job there. AMD, SMCI, I think will be on both of our radars. Well, not SMCI, but there goes ARM making that move. Google's pulling back a little bit, and the NASDAQ is making a jog. So this is going to be an exciting day, man. I'm going to try to stick with some sticky note names and then watch the chat. Here we go. And
ring
one.
Right onto the bell. That was a little bit of a muted ring,
Right
but I don't
there.
think it's going to be a muted day today. That goes without saying. The 52-week all-time
Rivian.
all-time low is 15 cents away on Rivian right now. And NVIDIA, it's chilling at 49, nothing going crazy on NVIDIA, but Google is right at that
Yeah, what's up with
144.
that?
That's really quick that Google's going to get to that 144 level. So the first thing coming into play is 144 Google.
All right, long bang. Right there, we take about 25 cents, 30 cents on that one. We're long Google 28s. We just got out at 50. Let's see if we can get a longer long here, down more near 144. We're trying to be as specific as possible, but we're already long that one. And by the way, we're 80 cents in the money now on Rivian, as that is down there. We got that crazy fill down there at 77. We were bidding there. We do now have Google, so watch out now. We did get that lower price that we wanted. Sometimes you want lower prices, sometimes you do not. But let's go right now for Google. Yes, sir. Oh my God, we got it out there in the 20s. This is a good trade for us, guys. We are scalp city one more time on this Google trade. Take more shares and get them out is my plan. Here we go. Nice move right now for Google into 144.30. Good long there. Bang. There it is, man. We're already there. Good start so far today on this side. Look at Rivian. Holy shit.
Yeah, one trade, bounce off Google. I'm long at 06. I just got some at the 42 level as well. So that is continuing. Oh, it's continuing to come down. Got to take your profit. Do not turn a winning trade into a loser. If it can hold 44, that is great. But the market is starting to come back a little bit on some of the bigger cap tech names. However, NVIDIA is going the other way. NVIDIA just popped. Oh, never mind. NVIDIA just faded as well. Forget about it. NVIDIA was just up at 55, pressing higher, and then it just got a nice little fade in. So I'm out of Alphabet because it couldn't hold on to that 144. We'll see if we can get back into it, but it is flush city. Holy Intel just went to $44 even. Google, you're a distraction. 2% drop almost immediately in Intel off the bat. I know you're a dog, but you're a little bit too much of a dog right now.
Yeah, man. The dog that is Rivian barked down to 1150.
Oh, that was the bounce.
Wow, right there. Yeah, we'll take a hit, but a very small one there on Google, of course, because it does break, and we wind up getting out on that break. So this was our look right here, right now. I'm thinking like another long possibly, but maybe not till 142.50 or so as the market is making the move down. We called ARM long at 133 and didn't take it. It went to 135. The break just happened a little bit too early, so we stayed away from ARM right there on that move. So let's just check out Palantir. We did sell that earlier. PLTR just quickly, 23.40. So that was good. That came in a little bit quicker than we had hoped for on that move. So we got out of that immediately. So that's Palantir. That idea just didn't hit for us. The next one, NVIDIA at VWAP. Let's just check out what NVIDIA is doing right now for everybody. That's why we're here, 760. So there it is. It actually takes VWAP right there, does NVIDIA. So we'll take out some Rivians again at 1160. Man, this is holding the day here is Rivian, but it looks like NVIDIA right now trying to go. So VWAP is there at 753. It's just very, very choppy. We want to look at this, but right now it's a little too early. Let's wait to see what happens here with NVIDIA. It looks like it wants to go.
Yeah, and I'll tell you exactly what we thought might happen there as Rivian takes the brunt of it. Lucid tagged 330, 333, $3.33 was SSR. It tagged 333 and is already bouncing. So clearly the brunt of the negativity is focused on Rivian. Lucid looks like it's a potential squeeze play, or at least an SSR bounce from here. I'm going to go for the long in front of that 30, so we'll try to get some 10 cents and above, and I believe we're going to Adara.
Massive volume spike right on open here for Moderna. MRNA now up almost 10% after posting a surprise profit and a pretty substantial sales beat here. MRNA looking really strong right off the open, guys.
Holy crap, Intel.
We're also doing it right now. We have 70 cents. Well, we just did have 70 cents in the money on ARM. We got something out at 134, but right now ARM is trying to do a little bit of a dance. I'm going to get out if this breaks through 132 right now on ARM. But we just took a little piece out there. Again, we're long at 52s. We actually got 50. We got O's there. We got 94s, sorry. So we'll take 45 cents as it's bouncing off there one more time. We'll wait for a little bit higher than this. Obviously on ARM, we talked about that we think this could be something that really gets going, but this is going to be NVIDIA specific. I mean, this is also happening as we speak right now, and that is Rivian just absolutely tanking in, and we'll just cover more. For me, this is the trade. It's the only place I'm making any money right. Well, we're making money in ARM, but this is the only place right now for me, Rivian. We did take a haircut on Google, small, but we are up 5 times on Rivian what we lost on Google. So far so good right there. That's how you trade, right? You got to put your eggs in the basket.
Matters.
Yeah, exactly.
In the right basket.
That's exactly it.
In one basket.
It's like. Yesterday shorting NVIDIA at the close was definitely the wrong basket. But right now we're long ARM. It's 50 cents in the money. There it goes. This is what we want. Here goes ARM. ARM is now $1 in the money. We have $1 in the money on Rivian, $1 in the money on ARM. Let's go. Hopefully my guy Obi's in this one. Let's go ARM to the upside right now. We're long at 133.50. It's another $1. You're here for this, and we're here for you. It's Trader TV Live. Let's go, man. We've got this one. We're going upside with ARM. How far does it go? Nobody knows.
760, just watch out for NVIDIA here. I like 65 break on NVIDIA. If ARM's already going, it means it can go too. I'm not going to sit there and say, okay, what are you going to do? I missed an Intel short at $1. It is what it is. The next trade is the next trade. And then right into yesterday's close and the support level at 43 at 43.4. Either bounces here or it doesn't. I'll be frustrated with it because this is probably the short that I like the best. There's no question about it at this point. NVIDIA cannot hold the 760 level. We're going to see what happens there. Lucid is still hanging on to 333.
What do I do with
ARM? That
ARM?
was that double bottom. NVIDIA just failed the top. AMD might be a short at 175.
All right,
NVIDIA
guys.
just failed a 760 break.
Holy shoot. There it is right there. We are definitely in this trade. It's ARM. We just got a 136.50 right there on ARM. A monster $3 move. Again, off the sticky note. You're rocking with it. There it is, man. There it is. You long this name, Professor? No. Okay, here we go. It's a nice move, man. 133, 137. It's $4. Shout out to the Obi-Wan Kenobi over there. What's up? Hopefully all you guys are long with us right now. Patrick, you long? Nope. All right, here we go. We're trying to go back up to the upside. It's ARM. It's $4. We're starting to move on this name, man. This was the one that we talked about. We gave you 2 trade ideas today. What are the 2 top trade ideas on this sticky note? One may ask. We have Rivian, short 1250. We have ARM, long, pre-market breaks. Let's go. Let's see what's happening now. It's $5 in the money. It's not $1. Nah. We're going up to 5 right now on ARM. So let's see how high we can get right now. There we go, man. It's Trader TV Live. Let's see where we go. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. This is why we're here.
Buy ARM. I love that ARM trade. Great break. And the key thing is, NVIDIA never did anything. NVIDIA failed the 760 break just now. That got me in and out really quick on AMD for a nice scalp trade. The second 760 failed on NVIDIA. I went short off of 175 on AMD. Got some out. This happened really fast. Got most out at 174, and then it was right back up. This is the whipsaw action you're seeing. So I did take a hit on the last little bit. It's still a positive trade, but at the end of the day, this whipsaw action is really, we haven't calmed down yet, and NVIDIA just cannot seem to hold higher. I still think if you're not above 765, all systems aren't to go. Intel could not hold on to the bottom. I'm going to slap the fail on not being short on Intel. Today. That's a fail on my part. It has been the stock that I want short every single day. Today I don't have it. I tried one long, it didn't work off the bottom, and that stock is now at 43. My eyeballs are on AMD here for that 175 to go for that level again, but Intel's now at $43. I've sold 2 things in the chip space in the this year. One of them was ARM at 120. You know how that's going. The other one was Intel, and that one feels pretty good right now. Intel is a dog. Let it calm down a bit. Cannot find a bid at all in that stock.
Yeah, man, we are doing dog-like behavior right here. We're barking, boy. ARM is starting You know, I mean, are we starting or are we just getting started? Are we finishing? We do not know, and this is where ARM goes. So let's just continue to sit here and hopefully reap the benefits of a long ARM trade. Up to 138 right now. We are breaking out. I mean, this is what we sort of talked about. Watch out for maybe a 140, 145 in change rate now coming through for ARM. So, I mean, it's going, it's working, and this is what we're here for. So break higher on this name. We get out often, way too early on some names. So let's try to just stick in the pocket and do what we do best. And that is, you know, continue to hopefully deliver some decent trade ideas. And again, if you're looking for something, it's at Trader TV Sean, both on Instagram and on Twitter. You can go find that where we post a sticky note every day. All right, I'm like right now, see, I'm starting to feel some ways again because of how much money, like, again, it's not about, I shouldn't say how much money it's up. It's just how far this name's gone right here. I just don't know if we can go any more and if we're getting too greedy, but NVIDIA is just getting started. It's too bad that we broke VWAP at about 933. I talked about we wanted to go long if we stayed above VWAP, so it did come back in and we should have looked at that down there. So that's a little bit of a mistake. We did call NVIDIA, breaking VWAP is where we want to be. So right now, there we go. It's a big one there for NVIDIA. I got to give a big shout out to my guy Josh back there. I have no idea what he's trading, but congratulations, Josh, crushing it over there. The man with the best hair in the place continues to put up some numbers. So congrats, Josh. He probably has his headset on, but I'll talk to him after. Big day right there for the Josh, man, in the background. Let's just keep this momentum going, man. Today's a fantastic one.
Yeah, I'll say it, man. It's a fantastic day. I've only had one win on AMD there, and there was a fail break on NVIDIA, but I'm not going to hold it. Again, you might find traders that want to give something like that more room, but the way I see it, there's no way I'm going to let that 765 breakout make or break my day. It can make it, sorry, I should say, it can make it. It'll never break my day, not my style of trade. That said, it does have a chance to get there again. It's got to hold above 765. If you can't do that, then I still think this can be a little bit in that doghouse. Lucid still holding on to 333. Just one look here. RIVN did make a big SSR bounce already, so I do feel like that trade is come and gone. You had to get it off the 1150 retrace, and now it's already back in VWAP. I tend to think those moves are going to VWAP, and then that's about it. AMD is now curling, and it got to 176. This is looking like the next opportunity for a fade play. As long as NVIDIA is not breaking out to 765, then I do want to be looking for fades. The market's doing absolutely nothing. It was 2% when we opened. It's 2% now. Yeah. So when that's the case, you've got to be only in the names that are doing outsized moves. With that, patience on AMD for 76. We talked about Wayfair potentially breaking out. It is absolutely dying, so you can throw that one in the scrap heap. And then Bitcoin and some of the crypto names have been, I want to say, relatively weak, but Coinbase is looking for a little bit of a breakout. The other squeeze play I talked about that I think we have a shot at today is going to be an aftermarket mover, Carvana. It's creeping up, 52 break on Carvana. It's got a ways to go, but this is now starting to run as well. So now in patience mode, I think that hubbub at the open is kind of settling itself down a bit. And by the way, Intel still can't catch a bid. It's now down 2%. I feel like there's something else going on with Intel right now.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Something else going on here.
All right. Again, we cashed out of ARM at 138. So we only have 20% left as it's coming back in. We're still going to watch out for that 132 break level, but we're going to get longer and much near that level. We do have a new position, so we'll fire off the hot dog cannon right now, and hopefully we can fire it off. It's going to be Roblox. I actually, this morning after the shower, I looked out at my phone and was dinged another $16 from Roblox. So there it is, man. The monthly Roblox affected right there in the Katina household. My son has switched over to Epic Games, so he gets that. My daughter gets Roblox. So, yeah, that's right. Right there, I like that one. All right, so we'll take out a dime because that's what we do around here. You guys know we love dimes. And then there it goes again. Let's spin that one more time. So here we go, man. And this is what we talk about. It is about the names, but when you're rocking over here, hopefully you're able to find the right names. We went down to Roblox. It came into 41 bucks. We'll take some pieces out, man. Today is definitely just working out. And some days they do, some days they don't. It's only not, like I look down, it's 9:44 right now. I should not be in so much chill mode, but like Neil said, right now you're looking for opportunities. So that's what we're doing. We're looking for the best opportunities for everybody, and for myself. I mean, you know, I'm glad that you guys are here, but I'm trying to make money. 41.40 maybe for Roblox. We have VWAP up here at 41.25-ish or so. So let's get another piece right now. If we can get 21s, hallelujah, we'll take it. But right there it is. We get it. So it's all good, and it's all good over on the other side with Adara.
We have some numbers coming in here. S&P Global Composite PMI flash, Global Manufacturing PMI flash, and Global Services PMI flash. So forecast for composite is going to be 51.9, manufacturing 50.3, and 52.3 for global services. So we got 51.4 for global composite PMI flash, global manufacturing coming in at 51.5, and 51.3 coming in here for global services PMI. Not too much of a reaction here on the SPY. Still very strong on the day, guys.
Right.
Well, the NASDAQ just took out the high, though. So on that number, it's not a lot of action on the future. 765 went again on NVIDIA. So I jumped back into the trade above when it took out not the high, not the 765 level, but the high that was made on the 765 break. When it made a new high, I got into the long one more time. It's trying to test 770 here. I still think pre-market top, about 774, that's going to be the target. If we break 770, I'm looking to cover in front of that. You can easily get higher. NVIDIA does that kind of a thing, but I do not want to change the plan. I always take target entries for breakout style trades, so I'm not going to deviate from that on NVIDIA. You're still cruising here, but the fact that it made that breakout, I don't want to be thinking short AMD anymore. I said that would be the big test. There's a big wall at $770 for obvious reasons, but NVIDIA's done 20 million. It doesn't care how much is on the offer. If you guys are watching level 2, it just chewed through that en masse. 770's gone. I'm going to slap a trail on this one. We're not long 65 because we had to let it break. I think it was like 65 and a half to get the long.
I mean, I guess those Robux are paid for, so that's all good. You can see now we're in the 40s for Roblox, man. We just gave you this, man. It's a 40 center right there coming in pretty hot on Roblox. So there it goes, man. We'll see if we can get an out here in the mid 40s. We're already out of 60%. We got the target we wanted, which was pretty much VWAP, which is only 20 cents. So that's where we were out of about a third there. And then we just took a nice piece out at 30, which was this pre-market bottom. But I did miss. I mean, I'm here to tell you, I did miss that 44 level right in there as well. So, so far so good. We'll wait to see what happens with ARM. We're still going to try to put some damage down as well. That's a good NVIDIA trade. We should have been somewhere around there on this dip down in for that level on NVIDIA. So again, a little bit of a missed opportunity right there to get into that trade, but that's okay. We'll see where we go from here now as the market is still moving around a bit for us one more time. We're still in ARM, but we are looking to get into some more NVIDIA or any NVIDIA. I know Neil was in it and I see he's now out, so that's good.
Yeah, I just got the move we liked.
We're $4 in the money on ARM, and yeah. Good one there. Bringing you back. That's
just
nice.
Try to remember your style of trade, right? Everyone's style is going to be different. Some people might have said yesterday is a challenging day. I have a more conservative trading style. I trade with tighter stops. I trade with more defined targets. So if NVIDIA goes to 780, I have to find another long position to get in. It limits the amount I'm down, so I don't really have a lot of blowout days. But I'm going to take this out here, look for the next step. Maybe it's dipped back into 765 where we broke out. Maybe it's into 770, or it could just be a 780 break. But I'm open to all of those things. And I got away from, before we get into it, I remember I said no longer taking AMD short 176 because NVIDIA took out the top. That's the kind of adjustment. Yesterday, the two best afternoon trades I made were not reloading shorts, despite the fact that I liked them. So that can save you a bunch of money and have you not blow up your day. As NVIDIA is strong, AMD's up 8% in its own right and still climbing as we go to Adara.
Novavax really strong on the day here, guys. NVAX. This one is a small cap. It has a float of about 112 million shares, but 46% of that is short, so very significant short float here. News on this one is that they've reached a settlement with this company called Gavi with regards to a vaccine prototype purchase agreement. So good look here for NVAX. Keep an eye on that short float though, guys.
Advanced Concepts. All right, so we got an absolutely great review. Thank you so much for someone who put whatever this, where was that on the podcast? Apple reviews. So I guess for the podcast, thank you so much to everybody. Keep dropping them, and you guys are calling it literally the best show. So I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thanks to Ramin for bringing that to our attention, because that's honestly, I mean, I'm here for many reasons, obviously, as I've been here 22 years and trading away, but really all the extra stuff, all the extra work that we're putting in, you know, sacrificing many different things, family time, all that kind of stuff to put you guys into hopefully the best spot, not only for us, but for everybody else. Like, we want to get more viewers and we want to get it going. So thank you so much for supporting all of that, right? Like, my family's coming here again tonight because what's pretty cool is my daughter's actually playing on Old Maple Leaf Gardens tonight. So she's going to be playing there and skating with the memories of the best and the last time we won a Stanley Cup all the way back then. So she's going to be on that ice tonight. So I'm very, very proud of that. But that's the reason why I'm staying late, doing the podcast with Brendo, doing all the extra work for you guys, putting in these trades every single day. I'm motivated. I'm passionate about a lot of things, and this is just one of them, and it's trading. And I want to thank everybody for coming here and seeing real trading. So definitely big shout out to everybody that's out there. It does mean a lot. We kind of are in cruise mode right now. We've hit goals and everything, but we are going to still be here to make more and more trades. Thank you so much for supporting the show. It's been a blast, and we are. Trust me when I'm telling you this. We're just getting started.
Oh, it's always bigger and better. And as far as like, I never find myself in cruise mode, because with my style trading, I'm always looking for like what the next setup is and what it might be. It's always a might. You never know what'll happen. Someone just asked me about SoFi. I'll very quickly say, this is not doing much in SoFi. I don't think I'm telling anything you don't know, right? Like, SoFi's not really breaking out. I love SoFi. It's up 2.5%, but this might not be its day. NVIDIA just dipped off of 775. Well, technically 778, but it just dipped back through 775. So this could be a little bit of a pullback. 770 would look like an obvious entry point in there. I think you throw VWAP possibly out, not for the entire day, but on this kind of a bull run, you might want to do that. AMD, I'd be much more interested in a curl and a fade on AMD, or like a Micron, something in that range. But I'm still thinking more dip buy than anything else with the market breaking out these tops. And I want to go back over to Google. Google sucked this morning because the level we liked didn't hold, and then the next dollar down held perfectly on Alphabet. So 144 did not hold. If it can hold again, that would be a nice little stair-step play. Google weaker than the overall market. And another thing to keep track of is Apple trying to put in a higher low. If these can start to participate, and we're not just talking about the chips flying, I think you get a very different type of day. But looking for some patient dip buying in the chips, don't think you want to step out in front of it. I'm going to stay away from Intel till it calms down, because it's so weak right now that there's almost no point trying to speculate when you see these other chip names absolutely flying.
All right. Again, thank you so much for the chat. We're going to look for some more trades. All right. So I wanted to look down there. Let's look at Tesla maybe for a trade. So my arm, like we'll look at Tesla in a minute. It's hitting VWAP right now. So we bounced basically off of 17.8 again for the NASDAQ, right? So we'll wait to see 17.8. Well, I mean, bounced off of it. I mean, we got to 17.860 or something like that. So we didn't even really get that close to it. That would have been here, the 200 period on this chart, which is a 30-minute chart. So that's kind of a level that we're looking at. But then we're just still in the way here. I like this kind of a break. If we can get back up and break the high of the day, I feel like this market can really get going even more, obviously, than where we are right now. So let's wait to see. I still feel like there could be a test up there. But also, if you're fading the market, you now have a nice top, 19.7. So 19,970. So 19,970 is that wick high. I'm almost feeling like we could short if we get in and around like maybe 50s or so. So back halfway against that top. That could be a trade that does somewhat interest me. ARM just fell back in, so now we're only in $1 on this. We were debating getting out if it broke through VWAP, but we just did hit again the 50-period moving average. So I'm going to sit there pretty small, see if we can get something. I was a little bit lower down at near 132 to see about that as a breaking level, but we just did bounce off the 50-period moving average. Rivian's $1. I mean, the only trades we've given you so far is Roblox, 50 cents or 45 cents, Rivian $1, and ARM 4. We're going to look for some more, including Tesla, once we get back from Adara.
Gaia Technologies, PGY, getting a nice push up, almost a 9% on the day here. They did report earnings. The earnings themselves were a little bit mixed. They reported an unexpected profit, but they also missed their sales estimate by about 4 million. Mixed report here, but really nice move to the upside with very strong volume for PGY, guys.
All right.
So if you're looking for dip buys, not quite to VWAP on any of these chip names, but that was a pretty big reversal in the market. I always talk about key support, resistance, flipping spots. Well, if AMD, to me, that 175, 176 was a short zone and it broke to the upside, then if it bounces off of it, you've got to be able to switch gears. So it's trying to bounce. Give me 20s, give me 20s. Well, I'm just going to sit there. I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to look for the bid off the 176 on AMD. I'm not going to chase this one up to like 76.5. I want to risk 50 cents on this, not $1, because the high is up there at 177.5. So I'm going to be patient with this on AMD. The market is trying to bounce after that last little dip, and Intel's trying to go with it. I don't wonder if it's not a short the pop situation on Intel, but I got to still be patient there. Looking for the AMD reload.
So just in the time that Neil was talking, we just put on another Dollar Club. We just talked about ARM dropping into the 50 period. We bought 133s. We got out at 134. Literally, as my kids would say, Dad, literally $1 right on the nose right there. So we'll see if it continues to go higher. Obviously, we wish we would have held it because we'd have 65 more cents. But today just keeps on getting bigger and better. And as Neil said, man, we're waiting for the best opportunities. And I mean, what else? For me, that's the opportunity right there. So we took that, and now let's see what happens with the rest of this trade. But for now, we'll take that. We're still waiting for 163. But see, this gives us that flexibility, per se, now to get in and out of this trade. So we already took $1. Now we can hold it back down into 132, because then if it breaks, then it's a 50-50 proposition. We take $1, we lose $1. That's the kind of risk to reward that if you're playing properly, you're looking for something like that. And then for me, though, this is why I have to talk about this, I don't necessarily look for a risk to reward 1-to-1 ratio, because I trade with bigger shares, and then if it starts to go, I'll get them out and try not to average into losing positions. So that's the biggest one for me. We'll see if that can continue to work. So far, so good with all of that.
So you'll see I actually end up with an unintentional, this is not a hedge or anything like that. If you look at the chart, you'll understand that long AMD and short Intel is not any kind of hedge. There is zero correlation between these chip names today. This is a weak stock that I said I would look to short a pop in, and AMD popped into that 176 level. I'll get rid of that wick when I get a chance to fix the scaling. So I'm long here at 11s on AMD. I want some out at the halves, then I want to get all out in front of the highs at 177.25. Intel, if it pops 43.20, then I'm done with that short down at the lower consolidation. I like relative strength and relative weakness. That was the lesson yesterday. We give it to you every single day. We'll give you a new lesson. I have an idea. I already know what it's going to be today based off of the open, but the one yesterday was relative strength and weakness. If you can't tell that Intel is weak, then you're not really paying attention. So I'll give this one a shot on the short. AMD on the nice little bounce. I don't want to disrespect some of the other names out there. I was asked multiple times about a firm, and I said not till 40 because 38 was resistance. 38 is now turned into support. So you got to be careful with things like that. Like 38 was a big level, but now I have to wait till 40 on this name. If it gets up there, I think you can try to fade it. Intel is way outside of its normal range at this particular point. And when it is, you got to be able to trade it differently. So I was long off the 50 level, reversed it short, like 50 cents lower. If it gets to 42.5, it will not shock me.
Oh, Intel?
Yeah. It's
that's a dog.
It's a little dicey for Intel today. And remember, they had an event yesterday where there was good news with Microsoft. Think about that for a second. If the market responds to good news poorly or to bad news well, it tells you something about the sentiment in the stock. It doesn't mean the short has to work, but it does mean it's weak.
I mean, we're still $1.50 in the money on ARM, which is good. But I said we'd look at Tesla, so let's just go ahead and do that real quick, because Tesla is giving me some thoughts about shorting 195, where the 200 period is. It's down. Obviously, you can see it's down on the day here, so that's going to be something. But the market is still up, so that's kind of flying against a little bit of what I'm trying to do when I look at the market. So we'll have to be patient with it, but Tesla is weaker today, obviously down, 1% when the market is really flying, man. I mean, we talked about this potentially being a huge day for the NASDAQ, up 2.5% at its highs, pretty huge day. And Tesla getting faded off of that. So we have numbers coming up. Let's go over and see what Adair is up to.
Couple more numbers populating here. We did have some numbers earlier today, including those jobless claims and some of those S&P global manufacturing PMIs. Now we're getting existing home sales coming in at $4 million. 4 million existing home sales month over month coming in at 3.1%. So much higher than the previous negative 0.8%. So higher all around from the previous numbers here for home sales and home sales month over month. The SPY itself up 1.6% on the day, making new all-time highs for the SPY. So a very good look. Much of this probably driven by those NVIDIA earnings. We do have a couple more key earnings coming up tonight after close, including Block and also Carvana, which could definitely make some moves. So stay tuned for those. In terms of other stocks moving today, Lucid down about 3.5% after a pretty significant sales miss here. We also have Etsy down on earnings, although trying to curl back to the upside, expecting a pretty big decline in gross merchandise sales for Q1 2024, guys.
So I'll let you guys know what happened over there in AMD. I have all these dark pool wicks, and you guys see them in our chart sometimes. So these aren't really happening on NVIDIA. The bottom has been about that 765 level. A similar thing has happened on AMD, where there was a little bit of a wick down there. It shouldn't have triggered my stop, but the stop triggered anyways because it was a print on the tape. So I got out. And AMD is at the level that I would have taken profit, so I would be out of this at the high regardless. There's no chance I was taking it. You're just doing the same thing we were doing in NVIDIA. But it happened. NVIDIA is now above the 770. AMD is a little bit stronger because it's at the high of the day. Intel, I got a profit taker down in front of 75, but then it took out 43, so I jumped out of that trade. Again, relatively tight stop. But I like this 770 higher low now on NVIDIA. If it can start to put that in as a higher low, now keep in mind, this is 765 that held, not these dark pool wicks. So 770 looks like the next jump off spot. AMD could also take out the top, but I'm more interested in buying a dip off of highs, not at the highs.
All right. So market's still bouncing. I'd rather be long than short, but I do like this opportunity here now at 194, where the 50 period moving average is on this name here. And of course, the name we're talking about is Tesla. So we'll see if that hits or not at some point here today. The other name was, let's go back over and look at some Pan W. We saw this yesterday. This is still pretty weak today. I actually thought that there was a decent chance for a battle back.
260?
No, it's actually, it's pretty much at its lows now, 267. Oh. I lie, we were lower. We got to 265 or so, but it did start the day 275. This is exact same level we started at yesterday before Nightmare struck this name, Pan W. So again, they got sort of RIVN'd, I guess, because when you soar, it's a meta quarter. When you don't, it's like a Snapchat or a Rivian quarter right now. So we're gonna wait out for that one. ARM continuing to go as well. Nice move there. Check back in on Mickey, see what he's doing today, 108. So again, this is probably a name that we've talked about this a couple times. It looks very similar to everything else. So you got to get ready for a possible break. I mean, this is still a big position for me. I just got another dividend dripped in there. I was like, what? Okay. So I've been clearing some of this out. I think I have a 109 on earnings day or something in there. And then we did get something out around 111, 112. We talked about that on the show. But right now, Disney making moves down. So just, it's not that it's down, it's up today, but it's weak relative to the market because today's market is a NASDAQ kind of market. You can see the ES is 148, NASDAQ deuce 10 right now. Alibaba starting to head to the downside as we get, again, more negativity out of the China space. We thought we were running today. Now downside. We talked about NVIDIA not being able to possibly ship some of those upsized chips, which I think is a great sign over there, but it's going to not be great for China. So let's wait to see if we get a break here. This is probably a good break. 75 bucks breaking down on Alibaba. I think we might have just found a new trade idea.
So the new trade idea for me was waiting for Nikola to settle down and show me a level. I still look, my eyeballs are still glued to NVIDIA and AMD. There's no question about it. But in Nikola, higher low off earnings. The initial move at the open was to the downside. It then rejected 72. Higher time frame look for you guys here. 72 also being yesterday's resistance. So I'm looking for 71s down into at least the double bottom at 68. And if it breaks 68, play that by ear for a stair-step downtrend. They did report this morning as we're going back to the desk with Adara.
Just be aware, Fed's Jefferson is speaking right now and actually making some comments about inflation. So saying that it will likely be appropriate to begin cutting policy later this year and that he is cautiously optimistic about the inflation progress thus far. So just be aware that he is speaking currently, guys.
All right.
All right, new stock to watch for you guys. Remember Marvell was ridiculous in the afternoon when all the chips were going? Marvell has a rejection candle. As everything else I was looking at was breaking these tops and hanging at these highs, Marvell is maybe gapped up 5%, but it's trading a little bit weak off of its top. They don't report till March 6th. If this cannot hold on to VWAP, this might be a chip name looking to short. I mean, Intel's kind of hanging out those lows. I might wait till it gets to VWAP to take a trade, but Marvell is actually looking a little bit weak to the downside. I am in Nikola. My price is, they don't show you the decimals, but it's like 70-40, 70-42, and I'm looking to add at about 71. My stop will be above the 72 level.
All right, we're in, okay, good call there. We are in right now, Baba. So we'll take the short here a little bit early. I do realize that we mentioned a breakthrough 75. I got to give a big shout out here too. Thank you so much, Adam. I mean, I did miss the super chat. I've been looking at a lot of things here. Thank you for the 5 British pounds. We really appreciate the market recap. I mean, thank you so much, Adam, for that. So that means a lot. Thanks to Bears vs. Bulls for getting this to our attention as well. We thank everyone on the show. It is the best channel on YouTube. And, I've been trying to say that for a minute. So good to see that we're starting to get, we're back to huge numbers again. We want to get bigger right now. But, thank you so much for all of the continued support on the show. All right, just real quick here. I took it because I thought maybe we were going to be breaking. We did see a lower move here on Alibaba on the day. We've talked about that. This little bump up, it's kind of par for the course. So right now, I'm slowing this trade down completely. I didn't think we'd get back up here. But if it does want to travel a little bit, I feel that getting short, remember I was always saying this to you guys, we get short too early or we get long too early, and then what winds up happening is when it breaks, then our risk to reward is way off because we have too many shares and yada yada. So we're gonna wait. So here it comes back up. We're in a very, very comfortable position right now. We should have waited for 75 to break. It got to 75.01, and I was just like, forget about it. I'll take it 03. So that's what we did. But right now it is a little bit of a backfire situation here on Alibaba. Google's down to that 144. I am setting up to get more shares here if we can on Alibaba because this is a decent, there you go. We'll get some 25s. This is a decent level, I feel like. So we'll sit here, see if Alibaba continues to go, but our stop is not too much north than where we're looking at right now, 75.60. So if this one really rips up, unfortunately, again, we'll have a much fuller position in the 40s if it gets up to that level. But for right now, this is what I'm working with. It's Alibaba, and we're trying to figure this one out.
Yeah, I'm a little frustrated with that AMD. You never want to get out flat when you meant to stay in the trade. I'll
like
take
that
one.
hoodie, man.
That's new for sure.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
you
nice
can-
one. It's a nice one.
That
I
is a
was called
really
a
nice
hoodie
hoodie.
model yesterday, so today we wear no hoodie, and we're back on this tip right here with the Raptors.
$250,000 offer on AMD right now at
Yeah, this market's going
178. Rising tide lifts all ships, man. If NVIDIA has margins like that,
Higher.
I mean, AMD is going to get some of that bleed, that's for sure. NVIDIA trying to
Best
take
believe.
780 in a second. Look, I mean, AMD doesn't have to have that much market share, right? It doesn't take that much for them to at least justify their numbers with growth, and I think there's some validation that happened. I'm not going to get 176 back. I think that ship has sailed. The previous high into 177. If this resistance at 178 actually holds, I'd look for a fade back into the 177 to try and catch a bit of a bounce play. Marvell could come out. I don't want to fight it. I have a stop just above the 25 level, and if it takes that out, fair enough. We're going to jump out of that trade. NVIDIA doesn't want 780 though. I thought NVIDIA would be the one breaking out the top for the next breakout. It turned out to be AMD. But I had it at 176. Hopefully someone hung on to that. I had a bad stop trigger, but that's on me. I could have used a different stop key that would not have responded to that wick.
Yeah, that sucks. And that's the problem is we deal with some of the systems that we have here, and sometimes you know we
have 3 different stops we can use,
I
right?
know.
So if I use a different one, it's not gonna. It'll only trigger.
I just use that one that we always use. I don't know if it triggers. I think it triggers on wicks as well. So
Edge A is the good. You want to use Edge A.
Oh, you want to use Edge A? Okay. Yeah. So again, different stop orders. Know your broker. Know your platform. And Neil and I will try to do that as well. And then just that's what we're talking about when we're talking about you know, figuring out different stop orders. We have a bunch of different options here at Real Trading. Make sure you go check out Real Trading right now. RealTrading.com. Actually, I'll get the website up in a minute. All right. So right now, Alibaba is making a turn to the north side. The market's actually holding out. So I was going to, maybe this is a little bit crazy here. I was going to wait for 50s, but we just keep going to 40s and stopping. But again, patience should rule the day here for us. ARM is bouncing around a little bit. Let me just check out NVIDIA real quick here. I know Neil's been talking about AMD. NVIDIA's at day's high, an all-time high. This is the all-time high for NVIDIA, right? Every single uptick from now on is an all-time high. We haven't seen these levels before in NVIDIA. I mean, you know, NVIDIA's pretty much, I mean, from 5 bills to 775. I mean, there's going to be a lot of good stories in the market. This might be the best right now for NVIDIA. And the reason why I say that is obviously there's going to be SMCI and things like
SMCI
that.
says hold my beer, but
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's a story that nobody cares about because nobody's really in it. NVIDIA, everybody's in NVIDIA. SMCI is great. And those of you that are in it obviously would say hold my beer.
Oh, yeah.
But let me see what SMCI is doing right now. Is
actually
that 1,000?
20%.
Yeah, so there it goes. Like this name is going to keep reacting to NVIDIA, and they had a great report themselves. So yeah, you know, whether or not you think this is an AI bubble or not, these stocks are paying you out. Do not open up your 401ks today or anything like that if you sell like I do when you see profits, because today is a great day if you're in the market as NASDAQ's trying to get back to all-time highs, and it's led by all the names that are in all of these ETFs pretty much. So, all right, Miss A, what's good?
Nice day 2 earnings move here for CRISPR Therapeutics, CRSP, giving up a little bit here, but still up about 8% on the day after really strong earnings, specifically year-over-year growth being reported Wednesday before market open. Also worth noting here, 20% short float for CRSP, guys.
Rivian done at
Like I
low.
slapped to fail on Google.
That's a good note.
But Google's underneath VWAP, so I'm looking for something that's actually trending higher, like AMD. Again, I'll try to get back in AMD on the next available dip if it's still there. But Meta is super strong. I mean, relatively speaking, it's not SMCI or anything, but you got to look for what the next trade is. I like the stairs to the upside. It's generally an easy enough setup to follow. So if it can hold on to 483, I'm going to zoom in so you get these wicks out of the way. And once you get back into 483 where it consolidated, I think you got a decent chance. Oh, I got that wick there. Doesn't matter. I think you got a decent chance to see 485. I'm in the Nikola short. Let's be real, it's a penny stock. I was bidding in front of 69 and then just didn't get it. But I think this can probably work its way down to 68 rather calmly. Usually that's how this one goes. It's turned from green to red on earnings, so I think the trend is going to be with us here. Everybody is probably marveling at what's going on with AMD. NVIDIA still fails to make a fresh high. If it makes a new high on NVIDIA, I might just take AMD where it lies as opposed to waiting for the next available dip. Whether it's 77 or 78, I don't think we're getting the 77 anymore. That will be the trade that kind of haunts me, was getting out on a bad wick, but it doesn't matter. You got to try to find that trend. 780 is likely to break on NVIDIA, and I do think taking that or just being in AMD before 180 is the play. But AMD is getting real close to that resistance. I said 180 was the spot to look short on AMD, and I'm hoping there's one more long before that happens.
Okay. Yeah, ARM, I'm still trying to, sort of talk about the same thing. And by the way, thank you so much for this as well. Now, 7,061 followers. So again, I want to show this again because honestly, man, this is the throwback Thursday. It's not even that far back. Everyday traders need a break from charts and indicators. We had the fam drop by. So she'll be here tonight as well. Maybe I'll pull her on the show one more. Hey, my daughter's playing at Old Maple Leaf Gardens tonight on the ice. Yeah, so I'm hoping she gets a penalty shot and can skate around the middle.
Fix
there.
that bull up.
All right, cheers.
Needs to
Fix
be.
that bull up. I'm going to have to put those into both bullish behaviors. Still tastes meh. Okay. Anyways, go follow me on Instagram, man. We're posting lots of stuff like this, plus trades, plus. So that's what we're doing right now. Alibaba actually goes down, and you know where it printed, man? It went to 18s. Our average price was 10s. So not yet in the money here on Alibaba, and we'll wait to see if it does come in the money at some point. We'll be there to take it, but we're looking for a little bit higher up. We are going to, you have to be willing to get stopped out, right? 75, 60 if we're wrong on this name. Again, I'd hate to short these names. Honestly, this is one of those things. We'll probably go back to Palantir at some point and say, why didn't we buy this dip? But actually, Palantir's not moving, so I don't feel so bad about that. The Alibaba trade is just one of those things. I know China has a potential. I'm long Alibaba in my own account. It's red today. I felt like, and again, this is why I'm saying it's a good thing we didn't pile into this early. I felt like this had a chance to break that 75, and if it did, then we would have bled continuously down to the downside. And then, I mean, from stopping at that point, 74.50, in and around there, I still believe that that's going to be a trade. But the one thing is, I have two bosses in my life, my wife and the market. So other than that, I mean, the market has to move. So we'll wait to see. I feel like we got the right name here with Alibaba. And I just don't, I could put on a small piece right now in this area just because I'd hate to be right, but then don't have the good position on. So we'll put on a little bit more right here. We'll bump our price. You can see what our price now is, 15s. So, a little bit of a pullback in should do the trick here for us on Alibaba. And guess what else is happening? We're still here, baby. It's ARM. And there it goes again. It's $3 now. We just bought off that 133. We should have just kept on doing it, obviously, but hindsight, as we said, is a funny thing in this game. So
it's 2020.
It is
but
2020.
It's
only hindsight. So you have to pull the trigger. We've pulled it twice. We've locked and loaded. ARM is the #1 stock here. It's not even close. And we like ARM. Rivian's there as well. Neil had a banger on NVIDIA. I don't have any red stocks right now. The only red stock we have, well, actually, so Palantir's red, but not really. Google, we took a hit on it. So remember I told you we are down now. We are down 20% of our ARM trade is what we're down on Google. So just to that talk about never wanting to lose your day or anything, there's that in Rivian right now on the #2 trade off the sticky note. If you guys are looking for trade ideas, we have the best trade idea, first of all, is the watch list. That's first and foremost. I'm here to promote the watch list. But Rivian, short 1250. I don't know. We've had some big trades behind us that also crushed Rivian today. I'm interested to see what trade they had. Rivian, short 1250, and then the ARM long 136. These are my #1 and 2 profitable names on the day, and they're the sticky note trades that we put the work in for you and showed you those levels that we believed in anyways. So there goes Rivian right back into day's low. Ye have little faith on reloading it up there at 12. But again, with a short float, can kind
once
of
it starts going, it's weird. Like once it makes the hard bottom, it can be difficult to look back into it. I said I'd wait for VWAP on Intel, so I waited for VWAP on Intel, which That's about as far away that VWAP is going to be on this stock. So I just got it underneath 43.20. Give it to this local high at 43.30. My top were, like, NVIDIA is my best stock today, but then the number 2 on my list was short Intel, and I'm down on Intel because the first thing I did, I missed the short. There's no question about it. I said short 45 like yesterday on Intel, and this happened at the open, and I didn't get it short. It is what it is, man. There's nothing you can do about it except try to make the next trade. And if that crap is $2 lower that you're shorting it, then you're shorting it $2 lower if that's the trade that sets up. Because all you can do as a trader is trade the setups and trades that are out in front of you. So we'll look to get some of it back. The other thing that's happening right now is NVIDIA is cresting at that 780 level. When I say cresting, that's like a very relative term. Like, I'm not, like, the stock is pretty strong up here. It's really more consolidating. That's a better word. It's consolidating underneath the 780 level for a potential breakout here. So if it does pull back in, that can't hurt the fact that I'm short Intel, which is clearly relatively weak. You guys can all see that. If we never get this 780, you got to be kidding me. Let me just cancel the dip buy on AMD. We were long AMD at 176. Clearly, that's a good level. 180 is resistance on this bad boy, and it doesn't even seem to want to. It doesn't even care. Looks like we're going to have a 780 break on NVIDIA. I don't like the breakout on NVIDIA here. I'll probably play a false break, look for it to come back in and try and grab the dip buy. This is a time of day where I'm not a huge fan of the breakout trade. I tend to start looking for the dip buy. I like the breakouts early as opposed to this time.
Yeah. That's what I'm sort of dealing with right now as well. Thinking that maybe this big move up in ARM, is it really going to break back up to the high side right now? Let me just check in on NVIDIA.
It just false broke.
Again, yeah, 780.
Yep, see?
So, wow, 780, wowee. Okay. Yeah, that's a really, really nice move.
Here comes a pullback.
Right there. All right, yeah, I mean, we could trade these pullbacks too. I mean, honestly, I'm trying to stick with rules. Like, I would love a pullback into the 50-period moving out. If you come over to the chart, Fabe, who's over there? Ramin, Fabian? It's one of the two. For me, the only trade for this would be a 770 pullback. So I think we could get to that level, but I do not.
Or not.
Or not. And also, I do think it's possible. I do think it's possible that this name keeps going pretty much all day. Like I said, I don't know who's really going to short it. That was my theory with ARM. And it's been a good one so far. So what my theory is with Alibaba is not so super hot here. But Alibaba is back to the upside. We're shorting out 27s. I'm going to take something out if it gets back to like 35 because we just did get that fill. And now I'm getting nervous about this trade. So I don't like that feeling. So we'll wait to see what happens here with Alibaba as we get the fill up there in the 40s. It's not trading the way I thought it would, man. So sometimes you need to regroup a little bit. We're short 27s. I'm telling you what I'm doing. I'm taking out a little bit less than 20% if we can get to 35 just to take away some pressure. So right now, that's what we're doing with Alibaba because it's looking like it wants to take VWAP, which is now at 55. So we may have to adjust even the stop here just to not lose it. But we're still at 60. It's going to suck to lose these 30 cents. It's not a full position or anything, but this is a problem right now is Alibaba. So we'll... You may put another feather in our cap to the red side.
The dip in NVIDIA is not dipping yet. I mean, it failed the 780 break in so much that it didn't go to 785. Sorry, I got caught between talking and sipping there. But 777 is immediately catching a bit of a bid. So you're not even getting 775 here, let alone 770 or VWAP. AMD, on the other hand, this is now holding at 180. Man, if we get to VWAP on NVIDIA, this is the spot where I wanted to short AMD. The circumstances are a little bit different here. It's a really tricky trade to want to be short AMD, and right now it's giving you 40 cents worth of risk. If NVIDIA is going to fail 780, this might be the one chance at this price level. I said I like the 180 short. Let's see if it holds a bid at 180 this last time. If it fails underneath 180 again, or fails the current high, I'll try a little bit of a scalp short. VWAP would be a great target. I'm not even sure I'd want it till there. But we have to get to the small cap recap.
Yep.
Haven't looked at any of those, but they haven't been the root of your problems.
IWM is slightly positive on the day right now, but certainly in a bit of a trend to the downside with a big spike of volume there down. So certainly something to keep an eye on here with regards to these small caps in the Russell 2000. Also of note here, Root, R-O-O-T, this one up about almost 44% after reporting very strong earnings across the board. This one also has a short float of about 24% and a float of about 4 million shares, so pretty significant there. Also on watch, RXRX, up just above 10%. This one was one of the companies that NVIDIA invested in as revealed last week, so could be getting a boost from that investment. Short float of about 26% on this one. Last but not least here, Novavax, NVAX. This one trading higher after reaching an agreement we're settling from a 2021 dispute with this company called Gavi. So finally settled. Good look here for Novavax, 46% short float on this name, guys.
Thank you, Adara. Yeah, there's no stopping these.
Adara's not even done the segment. I was short 97s on AMD. I got filled at 40 something. I think it was like 40. I have to double check. But
185.
I just got filled, and the second I get the fill on the bid, it's right back up, and I'm stopped at break even. That's how quickly it's moving. Now I still like the level again, and there was a good point in the chat. And I appreciate you. JFL was saying, sometimes stop outs will be frustrating when you make tops and bottom wicks, or you get a stop like that and the stock goes, but in the long run it'll pay out. You've just got whatever works for you. There's a story that I'm going to tell when I do my lesson of the day today, which is along those lines. And it really just comes down to finding what your niche is as a trader. And it's not always the thing that you want to do. It's just the thing that you happen to be good at. And I can't say that enough. Like when you're trading, the market's going to tell you, the patterns that work for you and what doesn't. I think you got to be able to listen to it and be that kind of a trader. So when I have a tight stop in there, I'm trying to limit the loss. But hopefully, when you're going against the grain, because this is an absolute rocket ship, that's the right thing. So I have another tight stop short at 98 on AMD. This is the level I waited for. Let's see if it can actually push down into 179. Intel's in the money about 15 pennies. But which would you be more concerned short? Short at the top on AMD up 9.5%, or short on Intel down 1%? Not really freaking out when Intel comes back to break even. I'm just saying. One of these two things is not like the other.
No. All right, so we're going to stop a fail. We got it at 75% of that move on Alibaba. We did not average back into it. It broke through VWAP. That was at 60, so we got out at 61s. Was not good there on a little bit of a hit for Alibaba, but we're still holding. We'll give it up to 70s or so. But again, I feel like the market there actually did what we thought it would do, would come down. It's, again, picking the wrong stock because Alibaba went up. So, wrong stock on that one. Roblox, we're only in 10% of this. For those of you asking, so there was our last, we got out at VWAP, got out again right there. There's 9 outs there. We're in 10% left, possibly buying a bottom here. But the market's breaking lower as we kind of expected. And it's too bad because our average price on BABA was 37 or 38. So we'll see where this one winds up going right now. Maybe got out of this one a little bit too early, but we're still in it. Rivian to the downside, BABA to the downside. ARM still bouncing around. We should have just been in AMD and NVIDIA instead of ARM, but ARM still, like I said, the #1 name. So I'm happy with it, but would much rather have been in NVIDIA or AMD, it seems like, because ARM, which is right here, is kind of falling asleep. It did go up to 136.50 there, so we did have 350 in the money. So I guess 350 in the money on ARM is pretty good, considering it's a $134 stock, but we didn't take it. All right, let's go over and see what Adara's up to.
Spike for Monopar Therapeutics, MNPR. This one is another small cap, 13 million market cap, a float of about 6.3 million shares. But this one, big news here, some positive preclinical data for one of its cancer treatments, MNPR, up over 100%, guys.
Not bad. I don't have a pun for those guys. Mr. Memes, I'm not calling a top in AMD. I'm trading a setup off the 180 resistance level. That's it. I'll leave calling tops to other people. Like a trader should just be concerned about making the trades, because I feel like, I'll get into it in the lesson because I think there's an interesting point there to be made. But I was in, the first one was good. The second one barely even worked in the money, but you're certainly running into resistance at this level. The last pullback was at 77, and it did get down to 75.5. So I feel like this is the right spot. Intel's working just fine. Just to go back over what's like Nicola here, it's now cresting at 70. And it's putting in a lower high. Usually when this is happening, I've taken a little bit out and I would just add back in what I took out, but I didn't get to fill off the 69 yet. So I'll wait for VWAP and 71 to add to that position. But my eyeballs are on AMD. NVIDIA has already held underneath that 780 level. So there's always a chance it's a second break. But if we don't break 780 on NVIDIA, AMD's at the level that I think the pullback is worth the shot from a risk to reward standpoint. So if it doesn't make a fresh high here, I'll probably take a third shot at it. If it doesn't work the third time off the same level, then I don't want to fight it anymore. But right now I'm flat trading this level. So I think we can be in the pocket still.
All right, we may be out of the pocket soon on Roblox. We just took, so now we're long at 83.
News on Roblox?
I don't think there's news, no.
Okay.
We're just long, maybe there is. You know what, actually I don't have my Benzinga Newswire blasting today. Although it says it's on, I'll have to refresh it. Okay, so we're just long here now into that bottom. We wanted to wait for it. Again, like the market, like, what are you trying to do here? Is it trying to go up? Like, okay, so let's go. That's what we're waiting for right now. Of course, now Alibaba goes a little bit in the money. We're waiting for a 42 fill on that one to see if it can come back in, and then we'll play off the 50-period moving average. But this is already a fail, so we've already lost on Roblox. On Alibaba, but we are not losing right now on Roblox because that's starting to go back upside right now. Punch out, maybe we'll punch out. Well, did we get any outs there? No, we did not. See, we tried to punch out, and then it just goes down immediately like that, so that ain't good. But here, not trying to punch out, but trying to take 7-8 cents. Let's see if Roblox wants to bump. I mean, look where these futures are going right now. It's a nice move to the upside, taking out these highs. Roblox should be bumping. So let's see. Hopefully we'll get some fills up here. We're waiting at 88 and 89. We'll see if we can get some of that. Rivian's at lows as well right now and just trying to bounce off 11.20. But I don't have any issues with Rivian right now. We're not into too much of this. We'll see if it wants to continue to work. There we go, Roblox, attaboy. Hopefully this will continue now to the upside and start to really make that Alibaba trade something of the past. So right now we're into Roblox. Let's see if we can get this name going up side right now. It's Roblox. We like it. It's trying to go. There it goes right now. Take out some 93s and let's go over and find out what's up with crypto.
Interesting note on crypto from the European Central Bank. A blog post from some ECB officials coming out earlier today called ETF Approval for Bitcoin, the Naked Emperor's New Clothes. Some of the highlights from this report basically saying that the fair value for Bitcoin in their view would be zero, and that even though it has the ETFs for Bitcoin now, that doesn't make Bitcoin a solid investment. So pretty scathing indictment of Bitcoin coming from some of these European Central Bank officials on this blog here. We also do have Bitcoin itself still very much within that area, just below that 52,000. Right now, we're just sitting below that 51.5 area, up about 0.42% of the day, but certainly worth talking about Ethereum. Yesterday, we came down to that 2,900 area. Now we're back near 3,000 after breaking 3,000 for the first time since 2022 on Tuesday. So Ethereum looking very strong here. A lot of these names pretty strong as well. BNB up 3%, Solana up 1.6%, Cardano up about 0.4%, so pretty similar to Bitcoin there. We are brought to you by Benzinga. Sign up today for 50% off their premier news and research platform for retail traders with code TTV, capital letters. Use the link in the description to go to checkout.
Thank you very much there for the update. Mara above VWAP. Well, you see all those crypto names moving up. Mara probably the one to watch. That's looking super strong. It didn't set up for a short again, so we didn't take it. You've got to be able to say no if there was no crest and there was no fail under 180 the third time. It's actually breaking. I'm talking about an AMD here. It's actually breaking out one more time. Now I start to think 180 has turned into a bit of a bid. NVIDIA still won't make a fresh high break. It's a little bit frustrating because I kind of felt like that would be leading things, but AMD is actually catching up. AMD's crossed 10%, NVIDIA's 15%. It's catching up in some ways, but if AMD can get there, I think NVIDIA can too. Intel still continues to be weak. I just got a bid in front of 43. I reloaded in front of 43.20 and then just got the bid at 43. But it's hard to take the eyes off NVIDIA because it could make that run at the top any second now.
Yeah, I should be looking at it. I'm just looking at Roblox right now because it's just bouncing around. We're taking some out here. We're trying to get some 41s. Our best fill is right around 98. Do we get a 98? Yeah, we got a bunch of 98s actually. So we got some 98s. So here comes back upside. So now we're gonna let this try to chill a little bit. If we can get back up here, we're out of a lot of it right now because, like I said, scalping. I was a little bit upset about that Alibaba trade because it didn't quite do what I thought it would do, but we went over into Roblox and found a bottom. So we talked about before being into chill mode. I mean, we've made 120 trades today, and a lot of them are just these little baby fills. So we'll just keep getting out of them all. We'll wait for ARM to do something, and then yeah, as Neil mentioned, that NVIDIA and AMD. I mean, that's probably why you guys are here, to see some trading on this. And honestly, we've just been trading ARM, but this is now up 11% and still ripping. Like, I would love to log out today and get out of some of my AMD, but you know, we got out of some NVIDIA yesterday, and that was obviously wrong. We got out of 15% or so. I looked back, it was about 12.5%. So still out of it, but look at this thing ripping, 780. We got out at 680 yesterday. So missed.
You know
right?
what's wild?
Just keeps on going up.
There's a good point in there. Apparently, Aaron and Joanna say I'm being impatient with NVIDIA. I don't know, I made one trade in NVIDIA off of one level, and I'm trying not to force. I think it's the other way. I think I'm being overly patient. But there was a good point about AMD. If NVIDIA can't keep up with the demand, then isn't that great for AMD? So maybe that's why AMD is running so far. Because who the heck reported earnings today? Because AMD is the stronger one right now, as NVIDIA still won't break the highs, and AMD's at 182. Like, it's ridiculous. And who is getting the short end of the stick today? You guessed it, it's Intel. I own this one in my long term, but it is what it is. Waited for VWAP here, tapped it twice. It's now broken 43. I want to get 42.8, and then low of the day is 42.50. So if it gets to 42.50, I'm going to be out of that trade. There's still a dog. It's a dog until proven otherwise. And we said this after earnings, and this will apply to NVIDIA to a certain extent, and all of those names. When you get levels put in after earnings, and now I can't use the 15-minute anymore, you cracked out to the downside. It's been rejecting 45 since earnings. It rejected it again yesterday. Every single time it tries to get above that price, it's rejected it since earnings. It's a short until it is not, continuing to work to the downside. NVIDIA now looking for that top break. Wow, the dip off of 780 didn't really dip where I was thinking. I thought it could dip like $10. It dipped $5 maybe at best, and is pressing toward the high again on NVIDIA. So even the dips are very muted. That gives you an idea how strong this is. I don't think you want to fight this if you're shorting up here. Hey, if you have an out and you have a strategy, I'm all for it. But if you're short up here, good luck to you. It's been working for a scalp trade. I won't pull the trigger.
No. Yeah, I mean, Intel's going to be a dog because of some of the stuff that was in the report. So
the report was bad. It was real bad.
Yeah, no, but I just mean, like, NVIDIA's report was bad for Intel because they're getting into all that data center stuff, and then AMD is starting to make that move as well. So it's not great for Intel, but hey, like Neil said, I mean, an investment's an investment. You got to wait for a little bit of time sometimes for those to come through. We all have those kind of plays for sure. I mean, I have marijuana plays down 90%, so there's that. All right, Rivian keeps working. I'm not. Like, I wish I was seeing a few more trades. We emptied out the clip there on Roblox. We did talk about that. So that was a good one. We still have some shares on it, so we'll wait to see if that comes through or not. Alibaba's doing its own thing right now, and not much else is happening. So that's what's going on. Obviously, we've just talked about AMD and NVIDIA a little bit. Just a little bit. We still have ARM. I'm still looking for more. What else do we put on?
I like TSM here a little bit.
Yeah, okay. I was going to look at Google as well, but yeah, what's going on with TSM?
Look, TSM is just popped to the chart. I'm looking for a sympathy play which has room to go if these things continue to fly higher. Well, TSM, who do you think makes them all? I mean, the chips I'm talking about. They fab all of them. That's who Intel's trying to take business from. This is 131 change on the daily here. Look at the healthy pullback. It's breaking out that zone right now as we speak. If 181 holds on a pullback, great. Then that way, if these names continue to fly, then you've got something which can get dragged along. It's been a nice stair step to the upside on TSM. If it doesn't hold 131, there's always VWAP. So I'm going to look for a dip buy in TSM. Just looking for relative strength and weakness and some setups that are there, because I can sit there staring at NVIDIA and not breaking the high all day. I don't want to miss out on the next leg up if there is a dip buy that I can grab.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm about to say like possibly shorting NVIDIA up at 780.
There's a ton of selling up there.
You know, might
There's a ton of selling up there.
might be a trade. But yeah, I mean the volume is pretty intense. It is getting lower though here, but here goes 180 break. 180 break.
Well, the highs above.
What is
there,
this?
though.
2023? All right, so here we go. 780 coming through right now. It is probably a break higher. The high of the day is 781 right now. So I feel like if you are in this break, which is about to happen, I would assume, you do have $1 worth of room for sure to go back up to the upside right there. But there's the fade again off of it. There it goes. Okay, so here's the break. You could have definitely got long. I mean, right now I see the prints. There it goes. It breaks and goes right back in. So the failed break right there for NVIDIA. I feel like it's done that a couple times now, so you could watch out. I feel that now, because we've just seen it fail break back and forth again, you're gonna have a problem because now you wanna wait, I guess, for that 781. Too many times we've broken through and failed at those levels. So for me, yeah, that is a little bit of a problem there on NVIDIA failing upside, so watch out for a 781 break long. I think that's a better trade for now.
That's the thing. Like sometimes you want buying higher. It's not to say that look, price matters and getting a better price is always a good thing, but continued push can be even better. So I'm watching NVIDIA under the 780. I have a relatively tight stop. I got the dip on TSM. You guys can see there. So I'm looking for it to press back into the high, hold some through the high of the day break, and see how far this one can potentially go. But NVIDIA has been dragging. NVIDIA and AMD have been riding the ship and dragging them up there. From a structured trade, I just see it as an easier entry on TSM. Like NVIDIA, now even AMD is starting to look a little bit weak. This is interesting. You might not be wrong about 780 short. You might not be wrong about that. I'm only short Intel here, which that was a short all day long. As I said, tight stop on TSM. Yeah, this could be a little bit of a dip coming in. I'll look for VWAP in here as well. I did just jump out on a tight stop, but NVIDIA and AMD just made a bit of a turn. And if you're looking at SMCI as well, just note that the pullbacks will be a little bit more extreme over here. This is also fading off the high of the day. So I'm looking at all of them. Probably the right time to kind of jump out on that TSM trade, sit back and wait for VWAP. Intel's close to that low of the day, another 25 cents, and we'll get the low of the day on Intel. It's about 39 cents in the money, but Intel's been a dog all day. Let's go to the desk. We've got Adara and Money Talks.
Sorry, just to throw here, actually, just a quick note regarding these some of these cannabis names, including MSOS. So this actually came out earlier today, but right now seeing a little bit of discussion on Twitter. The Hill publishing this article basically saying that some law enforcement leaders have written a letter to the Biden administration urging for a lesser classification of marijuana. So could have some of these cannabis-related stocks moving, especially with the discussion on social media. Keep an eye on MSOS-related names, guys.
Hold on, I'm just doing something else.
And by Money Talks, I obviously meant High Times and Cannabis Talks, clearly.
Yeah, the Cannabis Minute over there. High Times, that's a good one. We did have the editor.
That's an actual
of High
magazine.
Times. We had the editor or something on of High Times, something like that.
That was, yeah, that was...
not too long ago. I have no idea his name, but it was not too long ago. All right. So I'm still looking at NVIDIA. I mean, I would think that was probably a decent call at 780. But when you're not short, it doesn't really matter. It's not even like it's pulling back. I still think the long at 781 is better. So we'll wait to see if that can come in right there. That could be something to come through. This CRSP, CRISPR Therapeutics, this was a name that Brian Shannon brought all of us, and it's been great. today. So this was a name that Brian's been looking at. So shout out to Mr. Brian Shannon. Nice move to the upside here for CRISPR today, up into 90. He talked about the anchored VWAP and all this kind of stuff. So Brian Shannon killing this one with CRISPR, although I believe he might be out, but it was a call of his. So shout out to Brian. Good one, bud, on that. And hopefully you're still in a little bit. If not, it's a nice move upside right there for CRSP. Just another name that I saw in the chat that was a already? Isn't Money Talks at 10:50?
It's Sector Watch. That's my bad, man. It's Sector Watch.
Yeah, Neil.
My bad,
Neil
Ram
confusing
Ram.
everybody around
It's on
here.
me. I said it's Sector Watch right now. Money Talks at 10:15.
And by the way, Mr. Mems, man, nobody has a sticky note. Like I said, man, often imitated, never duplicated. But Mr. Shannon is at Alpha Trends. Go find him at Alpha Trends. Tell him I'm talking all about it, and maybe he'll send me another one of his books. But there it is right there. It's Brian Shannon. It's Adair over at the desk with Sector Watch.
Of course, lots of strength in these AI and tech-related names. Both tech sectors very strong. But let's talk about some of the other sectors moving today. Finance, super green across the board here. JPM, BRKB, and a lot of these other names very much to the upside. Amazon also leading a retail trade to the upside. Costco and Home Depot feeling the surge up as well. Producer manufacturing, with the exception of John Deere, pretty strong across the board here. Lots of strength in consumer services, commercial services, and also distribution. Worth noting as well, Uber, one of the rare green names here for transportation in a sector that's generally a little bit more mixed. We did get a price target increase from BTIG research, and also some reports that Uber may be doing some collaborations with India with regards to bus and car bookings. So interesting look here for Uber. In terms of negative sectors, utilities, very weak. Energy minerals, a bit more mixed. And consumer non-durables, mostly red here, guys.
Yeah, when tech is up, I'm never expecting PG in those names to have a great day. But I was just saying to myself, Google looks like it might end up being a short if the market turns here. And then everyone in the chat's like, Tesla already is a short. Tesla's under VWAP and looking weak. I'm not gonna. You'll never hear me say Tesla is a sympathy play to Rivian, but the EVs have been under pressure for some time anyways. So I think VWAP could be a play here. It's Alphabet that just got my attention. It's trying to hold on to the 144 level again, which is where I had the failed long. It had one nice bounce and then it failed it. If we do not hold VWAP here, this is already relatively weak, 1% into a 2% market. I think it's a bit of a fade. We're still in the Intel short. We're looking for the low of the day. It's putting in a lower high, which is good. If the market gives it up, I still think I'm shorting VWAP. If it gets into 43.15, 43.20s, getting out at the bottom, then looking for the next lower high. The other name, if the market starts failing, guess what's back under 38? It's a firm, and all systems go. Now looking for the first available pop, I'm shorting a firm back into VWAP. That's
all right. We just got out right there. We'll hit a fail on ARM. It just cracked into 32. So that was a level there for ARM that we did not want to support. So again, we reloaded there. We just had that small piece left. We actually had a bid there at 132, but then got out immediately. So I actually didn't forget we had a bid there. It was at 132.15, and then there's the breakout. We got, actually, I feel like we got 130. We got a pretty good price. We got 131.70. So we'll take about a 50 or 60. So right here, we get about a 50 or 60 cent hit on that last little flush downside, and we called NVIDIA up there at 780 after a couple of those fails. We didn't take it. I thought it was going to fail. Then we could come back in and take out that 781. I still do think that is a possibility, but for right now, that is the move back in. If we are going to look for ARM, we have the 200 period rate here at 126, 126.50. That could be something. So I think we'll stay away. The trade is broken a little bit right now on ARM and on the chip names. I assume that AMD has also fallen in a little.
It's coming back under 180.
Not
It's still
so
stronger.
Much, not so much.
AMD's still stronger than NVIDIA. Ignore the percentage on the day. AMD's been stronger than NVIDIA today. So NVIDIA failing that 780 is not as bad for AMD, but I'm looking, I already talked about a firm there. Google is breaking down underneath the 144. So I'm gonna, what's weird about it is I know we like the 144 for support, but if I'm wrong about a stock and the level is significant, then I usually like that level the other way. And Google was not strong off the 144. It just triggered underneath VWAP. If the market's going to give back this day, then something which was weak, I would anticipate continuing to stay weak. Again, if you just marry yourself to Google longs, maybe you're taking a bounce play long here. I'd rather look for the short and then a break back down to the low, which is 143.
All right. Yeah, I'm just getting some orders set up. We are short Alibaba, but that's not the trade right now. I'm trying to find out. So Roblox is trying to break a little bit lower. We still have our stop on Roblox, which is a break of 75s. So again, we're long here at 80, and if we break too much, well, we almost got out right there on Roblox. This could be a decent opportunity to buy a little bit more, so maybe we'll try that here on Roblox, buy a little bit more. Well, there we go. Buy a little bit more through 80, through 81, and see if we do get some kind of a bounce play here on RBLX. We do have a stop 5 cents lower. So I feel like this is worth it. The VWAP's coming into play maybe on the NASDAQ. We talked about a possible dip buy. I tried to buy AMD there and missed. I went right over to AMD when we were talking about that and put a bid at 60s. 170, 60. Like I was like, oh my God, when I called it up, I was like, we're coming, like, look, 179.55. Like I wanted to buy that in front of that level. But yeah, no dice on that one. Okay, here comes Alibaba cranking a little bit, so that's good. Let's take out some more on the downside move here for Alibaba, breaking into 60s, into 59s, in lower, making a little bit back here on Alibaba as it's moving in. So I don't know what that flush was all about, honestly, on Alibaba there. So we'll put another bid at the 50s and then see how much lower this name wants to go. Decent reload there on Roblox at 80. We'll see about taking something out on the upside again if we can do that. Market getting real spicy right now because of the move in NVIDIA. The market really trying to react right now, trying to figure out what it wants to do. I'm going to cancel this AMD right now and wait to see if we get even lower right now on AMD. So let's be patient with it, see if we can get a lower take here on advanced micro devices.
So I'm in Google, but there's a good question in the chat. M. Allen, can you explain A and F for me? I just don't get it. First of all, I'll direct you to the podcast. Sorry, that's what I was looking for. Sean was talking about Abercrombie.
Yeah,
A and F.
Yeah, A
but
and F,
yeah. here's the best way to explain A and F for you. This is a monthly chart of A and F. That's all the explanation I think you need, because when a stock is doing this, just accept it for what it is. 12.5% short, and this has been happening. So until it shows some sign of slowing down, which, by the way, spoiler alert, it has not today. That's why you're asking, why is it so strong? Accept it for what it is. Google's starting to work to the downside. First bids in front of 143.5. And now, finally, a little bit later, we are ready for Money Talk.
Yeah.
USD still hanging out just above that 104 area, so bit of a green day right now for the DXY. Here's the daily chart. We did get some initial jobless claims data coming earlier today, lower than expected, so 201,000 versus the estimate of 217,000. We've also had Fed Jefferson making several comments as he began speaking at 10 a.m., including that he thinks it will be probably appropriate to begin cutting policy later this year, and that he's cautiously optimistic about recent inflation data, though he was disappointed by the January CPI print. He's not the only Fed speaker we have today, though. At 3:15, we have Fed's Harker. At 5 p.m., we have both Cook and Kashkari. And last but not least, 7:35 tonight, we do have Fed's Waller. So lots of Fed speak to keep an eye on. Right now, the USD is just slightly positive here. Guys.
I want everybody to understand that, like, and I know Neil's going to talk about this on the Real Deal with Neil and the midday show, or Trading Strategies with Neil.
It's the lesson of the day.
Lesson of the day, okay.
I like the Real Deal, but it's apparently lesson of the day.
Okay, it's lesson of the day, so check out the lesson of the day. But no, it's just like, you can always trade the bigger names. I mean, NVIDIA's been great, AMD's been great, ARM. I mean, we've already sort of talked about that. I mean, that is what's leading the day on here. The names like RIVN, ARM, NVIDIA, things like that. But also, like, don't sleep on, other names. Like Roblox, boom, like really panned out here today, right? And so there's going to be other names other than the big guys. But wow, that NVIDIA, I want to check back in on ARM. NVIDIA right now, 770, still amazing. Like, how good is NVIDIA? And then ARM down to, so might be finding a base now. I'm watching NVIDIA. I think there could be something there. You know, when stocks really move around on earnings and things like that, we've talked about playing near the VWAP, and right now we're just so far away. I should have, like, I was watching NVIDIA, looking at other stocks, should have noticed it and got out of that one. I'm okay with getting long at 132. It's just we did give this back, which was a $3 winner. So we made it from a $3 winner into a $1 loser, essentially. So that part sucks to give it back there on. We didn't give back the net. I'm just saying, like, that one trade. Take more shares earlier. I feel like that's always going to be the plan. But anyways, look to other names. Like, look what Roblox is doing right now. Honestly, like, look at that. Huge move. I got to get a glass of water. Huge move up here for Roblox. Like, we just bought down here. Decent. So we're making it back. So it's a decent little play there. Don't always just look for the main stocks. There's going to be other ones. And then when you hit one, maybe hold it like Rivian. But at the same time, the market today, Neil, we opened the day at up 2%. We're up 2% right now. So we traveled a lot. Some names traveled around. But the NASDAQ at the end of the day right now is right where we opened. So let's see what happens here as we're dancing around VWAP again. And NASDAQ is losing, the chips are losing the battle right here in the last half hour or so. Still a ways to get to VWAP, man. 765. That's kind of where I'm going to be interested on NVIDIA.
For the first time today, you can actually put this, and it's not ridiculous, because you're starting to roll over the NASDAQ right back to 17.9 after failing near 18,000. Google, we just took Google underneath VWAP breaking down. It just printed 143.50, so I got a piece out. I'm looking for the low of the day here. I'm gonna revert back to Nikola as well. Remember I said waiting for VWAP on Nikola? So Nikola got to VWAP, got a reload, then it came right back into the local bottom. I have bids into the low of the day there, so that continues to be weak. They reported this morning. But keep in mind, I know it's 10:54, and in 5 or 6 minutes, we're throwing you guys to learn to trade with Sharif and Adara. But if you go to More Trader TV, there is the dashboard. The dashboard will continue to show our positions all day long. I mean, it's going to have Sean and my positions. Now, we've been working out some of the kinks there. The last trades will not always be correct because some of the covers will say the same direction as the position we're in. However, the positions are right. I can confirm to you guys. The positions like Nikola, Google, Intel, I'm sure all three of those names actually just got into a firm. That'll probably populate. The prices sometimes are a little bit off, but you can generally trust the positions there and follow all day long. What's your spirit animal in the trading world is apparently the question. The steady turtle, the fearless wolf, the wise owl, the lucky rabbit. I'm going to go with the wise owl. It's 40% the lucky rabbit is winning. Okay. That's weird. I kind of feel like that was the joke one of those. But anyways, just for a little bit of fun. But check out that stream. It's doing a fantastic job. And keep giving us feedback. We live off the feedback. Getting great feedback for the aftermarket show, and I get ideas all the time from people in DMs about what to do for lunch and some lessons with you guys, and that's what drives the show with you guys. So let us know what you like, what you don't like, what we can improve with that second stream. But you can follow it all day long at More Trader TV.
And on that note, it's everyone's favorite segment right now. It's what's for lunch, and today it's going to be an interesting one. I think this is a big success around the floor when we make these kind of announcements, because today for lunch we're getting grilled AAA sirloin cheeseburgers. So I feel like that is a banger. Was that Ramin? Yeah, Ram is liking that one. So yeah, good one right there. We knew that was going to be a popular one. So there it is, Ramin. You get those cheeseburgers today. That should be a lot of fun. So we'll hit that up there. I don't know why it'll be fun, but we will have that, and maybe we'll show a little picture of said cheeseburger at some point. But that is what's for lunch. All right, nice battle back. Nice battle back. Again, instead of trading with NVIDIA, we'll use probably 3 or 4, 5 times the shares that I would have on NVIDIA and go over and hit Roblox. So this is going to be a good trade, man. Up to 11s now. This is 30 cents. Like, we are really starting to run this stock. Like I said, this is going to be, well, Rivian's going to be my #1 stock, but Roblox has taken over ARM right now. So there it goes. Nice upside move here in the name. We like it. It's been a good one. And so far, so good, needless to say there on Roblox as we just get that out. BOBA's going to be my worst stock as we shorted it into oblivion and then eventually got taken out. But then we waited for the 200 period and got that back into the short, and I've been making like a dime. We're short at 80. Remember when this really started to tank down? We got some 60 fills and stuff like that. So we'll make a little bit back, but Alibaba is the fail for me. And then the other name that we're down on, we have one more down name today, and that's Google. Again, we could have waited for the 200 period to short that. Should have done it. Could have, woulda, shoulda, did not. That is Google. We'll have to take a good look at that name. As, yeah, man, I'll prefer the market to go down because I have Alibaba right now, but look at this move back on NVIDIA. So I guess we don't wait for VWAP at all. Makes that move down to 773, gives that base right there. And I'm guessing ARM 130 base was probably good right there as well. I'm not sure the dream is alive for ARM. You're welcome, Nunya Biz. They're following on Roblox. I mean, congrats on that one. Hope you followed on some of the other ones as well. But yeah, the Roblox is a good one. Congratulations, Nunya Biz. Damn these eyelashes again. All right, 20 cents, $1.20 in Rivian, and a dime piece in Alibaba.
Yes, sir. And yeah, actually, yeah, it just showed up there. I am in that Affirm trade just to give you the last update. 90 seconds to go till we pop over to Learn to Trade. Waited for the first available pop to fade, and it got to 80. There was an offer there, so I just sort of jumped on board in Affirm right above that 80 level. So I'm only short right now, which is interesting because that's very opposite to what the what the early morning was. Everything was flying. But Google heading down lower. It is a weak name. I came in looking for longs. It was on my note. I even said the news on Gemini and the images thing, whatever we're calling that.
Yeah.
The images, I guess they're pulling back. Whatever. You guys can read the story. You're not going to be able to do AI-generated images of people on Gemini right now. I didn't think that was a big deal. They could solve it, but the 44 long was good for a second, and then it failed. I think it's now a weak name underneath VWAP, so I'm shorting VWAP into the low of the day on Google. Got to be able to flip that script. Nikola's working to the downside. Google's working. Affirm's in the money. Intel has been a dog. Then I will short as well off VWAP. If I'm buying dips, then okay, well, you can pretty much forget about VWAP or 178 on AMD because it's too strong. But it should be in those names. Like AMD looks like the strongest of the bunch. That's where I'd look to be buying dips throughout lunchtime. Trade long, if you can, to the best of your abilities, try to be long, strong stocks and short, weak stocks. Sometimes you get to a price level where a setup is the other direction. That's fair enough, but generally speaking, you want to be doing that other thing. For now, we're sending you guys to the midday. We are back at 2 o'clock. More Trader TV will be showing our positions all day and giving you breaking news and moving stocks. Let's head to the professor and Adair.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That is your girl, Adair, and